Over 20 years ago, Alex Jones created the media platform called InfoWars, and in the decades since, it's grown into a truly remarkable institution with over 200 radio affiliates, tens of millions of unique website visitors monthly, and a 24/7 live news TV channel broadcasting from state-of-the-art studios in Austin, Texas. InfoWars has become the most trusted independent news source in the country, dedicated to delivering breaking news, live coverage of special events, and exclusive reports you won't find anywhere else. While the old guard media struggles to maintain supremacy in a landscape rocked by innovation and technology, InfoWars has been at the forefront of the information revolution. From 8 million radio listeners, over 2 million YouTube subscribers, or the billions of views of our online content, InfoWars proves dominant in every facet of media we enter. For the hardest-hitting reports, uncompromising analysis, for high-profile interviews and bombshell revelations, accept no substitutes. Demand truth. Demand InfoWars. InfoWars. Tomorrow's news today.
You know, there aren't enough hours in the day for me to even read 10% of the disinfo news articles that are being put out against yours truly right now. And again, that's being done to set the precedent to deplatform all Christians, all conservatives, all nationalists, all patriots. Conservatives and libertarians and everybody running for Congress and folks that are already in Congress, they're already discovering that they've been completely shadow banned. Not just 4 members of Congress like Congressman Gates said, trying to single himself out to sound special. He's a buffoon. Till he wakes up. He got the report, we warned him, and then they totally banned him the next day because he told them that it's their right to ban whoever they want. No, it's not. The Austin American-Statesman has a giant disinfo piece filled with just absolute BS and garbage. But if you go to drudgereport.com, that article's linked, and then under it, Alex Jones slams the tactics of the tech left to shut down free speech. And look, if you scroll down, the video's been removed by Facebook. That's right. They only blocked us from uploading or streaming on the Alexander Emmerich channel, which a fan created like 8 years ago and gave to us. It had like 2 million likes, but they've removed a bunch of them. It's like 1.6 million people that follow it. And they explained the other profiles haven't been taken down. But then we stream on those and the left freaks out, or even upload videos and they complain. And so then whoever works at Facebook, just rogue, goes and deletes that too. So look, you do a video about how you're being lied about and about how you're being censored. But we've now just updated it because it was dead. I haven't hit refresh on this computer. So see that? Even take down the video of me laying it all out. But I'm going to call Watson, or just tell one of the crew, I want to add Adam's report and Paul's article from 2 weeks ago at the top saying, must-read breakdown of how they're shadow banning all conservatives, all Christians, all libertarians, all nationalists. They've already been doing this in China. They've already been doing this in Europe. And so this is the big issue. And this is how they're going to try to steal the election. And this is how they're giving themselves all these campaign contributions, the Democrats are, at Facebook, at YouTube, at Google, at Twitter, when they say all Republicans are Nazis on the official Google fact page. Or when they put only positive news about Hillary up top, breaking their algorithm. Or when they shadow ban members of Congress who are running for re-election and don't let them talk to their constituents. They go out, the Republicans promote their Twitter, on TV, on Fox News, on everywhere. They hand out campaign cards with their Facebook or Twitter on it, and then the Democrats go in and shadow ban it. It's the equivalent in the 21st century of you pay for your phone. In this case, you pay for it by promoting it. You give them the traffic, and then they don't let you call certain phone numbers. They block who you can call. And then at first you don't notice that, that only half your Rolodex is blocked, but soon you learn it's 90%. Then it's 100%. And they're doing this all and it's criminal, and they're organized. We need to get organized because everybody's getting censored, but nobody organizes. We're trying to organize people at a congressional level to take action, and that's why the left has made me #1 enemy all over the news, everywhere, saying, take Alex Jones off Spotify, take Alex Jones off of iTunes, we've been on for years. Take us off everything, and then lie. And then say, oh, well, he's being sued for things he never said. So that's the proof he has to be taken off the internet. Unbelievable. CNN's been sued more than 10,000 times, and they are fake news. And then they're the one, a failed news network, out promoting all their alternatives to be shut down. It's unbelievably transparent. It's sickening, and they're going to lose big time. Yeah, it's a long way to the top if you want to be in a free country. You want to have a future and be free market, be successful. But the alternative is slavery. The alternative is absolutely not something we're going to settle for ever. I am your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here for the next 4 hours. Paul Watson's going to be joining us. We've got the Patriot Prayer Group, multiracial, liberty-loving group who has been attacked by Antifa repeatedly. And so they've been caught beating up women, children, you name it. Even mainstream news admits the Antifa comes and they launch the attacks. Well, now Antifa says they're bringing guns. They say after the Nazis attacked us unwarrantedly, they actually put this out on their official Antifa page, total upside-down world. After the Nazis attacked us, it's clear we're going to have to take them out and, quote, eliminate them. And so we're bringing guns. So think about that, folks. A prayer group goes out to exercise free speech in America because they beat up even folks at 4th of July parades now in Portland, San Francisco, and other areas. These are such anti-American hate mongers. You can't wear American flags in public schools. The Ninth Circuit's ruled that it's evil and a hate symbol. The city of Austin's officially trying to change the name from Austin, saying it's racist. Here's video of them physically attacking a transsexual. But the left loves all that. This is so sick, so evil. Again, we're a radio show, simulcast on television. If you're a radio listener, obviously, you can always go to Infowars.com/show if you want to see the free feeds. But continuing here, Joey Gibson's going to be popping in to discuss the prayer group that he's having the 3rd rally there. And it's so sick, it's so evil to see how vicious these people are. But getting back to the Antifa, we have an article on Infowars.com that details it all. And what's crazy about it is when you read the article, there's no thought process to these people. There's no logic. They say, well, the Nazis keep attacking us, and they're violent, and they're attacking people of color, and they're attacking LGBT people, and so now we're going to bring guns and eliminate them. And then meanwhile, you have a prayer event that's got white people, black people, transsexuals, you name it, and they get beat up and attacked in Portland, in San Francisco, you name it. And because people fight back, they then say, the Nazis are attacking the LGBT and the black people. And so we've got to go out to the event with guns and eliminate them. It'd be like if you were walking down the street and you walk by a blue car. And a crazy person runs out from the bushes and says, get back. That's a red dragon. It will eat you. And you go, no, it's a baby blue sedan. Looks like it's an old LTD or something. They're like, no, it's a red dragon. Oh, get back. And they start stabbing it. Oh, my gosh, we've got prayer vigils. We can't allow those. So they beat up people 3 events back. So then men showed up to stand up against them. They physically attacked them, get their butts kicked. And so then they show up at the next event and attack people first again. So then they get responded to. People defend. And now they're going to show up with guns because they say, we're not going to let these racist, evil people on the streets of America, we're going to deplatform them from their First Amendment because we've dehumanized them and called them all these names that aren't even true, and now we're going to take their rights, which is exactly what they do to me. They tell all these giant lies, and they have the headlines everywhere. Jones has been removed off Facebook and off YouTube. That's not even true. We were given fake strikes. The last ones they put on months ago, they had to remove and admitted were fake. Lying about what we said about Parkland. Now they've done it again, saying that I endangered a child and beat up a child. They never show where it was. They never show who it is. They just say, Jones abused a child. He's about to be banned from the internet. And then they extrapolate that in USA Today and everywhere else. Jones has got to be deplatformed. You know, the London Independent, especially the Brits hate free speech over there, the folks that control that island nation and the UK. So they've got even more deceptive articles about Jones was banned from YouTube and Facebook. But he hasn't been banned yet from Spotify and iTunes, but he needs to be, and he needs to be banned from Amazon. The precedent of him being banned for hate speech and abusing a child is absolutely imperative that he be removed. And then nowhere in thousands of articles does it show me abusing the child or me doing any of this. It's all a giant hoax, just like they do about the president. And you've got the article up on Infowars.com with the Antifa screenshots of what they say and what they do, sitting there openly talking. You guys reprint me that? Yeah, there it is. I had it here and I just can't find it. It's a Zero Hedge article on Infowars.com. Yeah, better bring our own guns. Portland Antifa plotting direct confrontation at pro-Trump rally. And then you read what they say on their official site. It's, the Nazis attacked us and they beat up black people and LGBT. And now we're going to bring guns and we're going to kill people. We're going to eliminate them. Meanwhile, Antifa looks like the most evil group of ring wraiths that crawled out of the devil's rear end or something, showing up with devil tattoos, beating up women and children, and screaming N-word at police, and then frothing and going so crazy that they attack food trucks that they see giving service to people that walk out of federal buildings. And in Austin, they march around with guns and won't let our own camera people onto city parks for demonstrations right in front of the police. I mean, this is real, live authoritarianism. And they sit there like in their own hallucination, going, and the Nazis came to Portland, and they beat up the minorities, and we can't let them. We're going to have to kill them. This is mass insanity. This is beyond Trump derangement syndrome. And this is what this country's become. This is what this country has degenerated into, and it's all been done by design. Now, when we come back, print me that article, please. I had it here, and I just can't find it. It's on Infowars.com. It's so critical to read the mental illness. But it's not even mental illness. It's like an attempt to overthrow reality, because you read it, and they're the ones every time that attack. There aren't white supremacists. It's a prayer vigil. They know that's not true, and they're just saying it. After the Nazis attacked us last time, we're bringing guns, and we're going to eliminate people. That's the quote. And it's not true. It's like if I have this white mouse in my hand, Apple mouse, and I went, look, it's a rattlesnake. It bit me last week. And so I've got to stab it. Oh, rattlesnake, rattlesnake. You'd say I was crazy. Look, this is a black king cobra right here. This piece of paper here. You know, this pen is a nuclear missile. You're like, no, that's a ballpoint pen. No, it's a nuclear missile. They're coming to kill us. The Trump people. we've got to kill them immediately. We're coming to kill them because they're Nazis. You're like, dude, you're like on meth in a little Darth Vader outfit with a machine gun in public saying you're going to kill people. And the police are in blue cities on your side. But look, I haven't gotten to the big bombshell yet. New invasion boats slamming in to the coast of Spain. It's unbelievable. It looks like D-Day, but in reverse. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Next segment, I'm going to lay out the total globalist takeover invasion plan and document how it is a concerted, linked up, orchestrated program to collapse the West that has now gone into murderous high gear. Hundreds of invasion boats financed by George Soros, you cannot make this up, and the UN, have slammed into Spain in the last week. Thousands of people. Now, before Italy was taking the invasion boats, and so was Greece. Greece has been in a 5-year total depression with people starving to death in many areas and leaving their babies on the doorsteps of hospitals as the IMF and World Bank sucks those countries dry. They're going to use this Islamic double La Reconquista to further implode Europe. Already their tourism's down over 80% now in places like Paris. It's down over half total in countries like Spain and France. It's unbelievable, the point that we've gotten to here. And again, why would governments do that? Because it's part of a larger plan. And then we have the footage after the invasion forces hit. They then literally come out of war-torn North Africa that is hell on earth and just began raping, robbing, stealing, burning, and we've got all that footage. It's coming up. But don't worry, we've got hijab Barbie now telling young girls how great it is to wear hijabs. That's coming up. Of course, don't get caught in most areas. We're not wearing a full burqa or you'll get stoned to death. What do they have, stoned to death Barbie? Maybe they have a Barbie set where the whole family gets together and stones her because she's got her face seen. Because that just happened in Saudi Arabia. Man has been arrested for kissing a woman on video through her burqa. So that is the wonderful, wonderful world of radical Islam. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't stone her to death. And maybe that's the new Barbie set you get because we're being introduced to radical Islam. Maybe we have behead Barbie where, you've got Ken, wears an executioner mask and you pull a little string and he goes, because I can pull video up right now. Don't do it because you can't show what the precious Islamists do. Of women being beheaded for being caught out without their burqas on. But we're just going to give you training wheels here and teach you how to put on the hijab. Like German TV during the after-school specials teaches the girls, get yourself an Islamic man who's 25. They are good men. Then they give them manuals on how to get their 14-year-old girlfriend. And they tell the 14-year-old girls, these are real TV shows, you get your man, parents, let your daughter have an Islamicist at 14, and then you can learn to wear the hijab. And they've got rock stars and people in Germany, in German, saying, I wear the hijab now. It is fun. It is good. We wear hijab. We wear hijab. I used to hear there was a planned Islamic takeover, but you know what? It's really true. That's all coming up next segment. I'm going to go through all of it in detail and so much more. But the big push right now is to shut us off the air and to sue us and to lie about us and to say all these things that we never said and to take things out of context. Just like the Mueller indictments aren't for Russian collusion, but it's just to say we've got indictments. Well, Alex Jones is being sued. they don't even bother to say it's Sandy Hook. They say, Jones is being sued for saying nobody died at Parkland. Never said it. But that's how they operate. These stories up on drudgereport.com where I respond to the lies. And again, it's critical that they be able to strangle us in our voice so they can then defame us and misrepresent us as the poster child of taking all of your speech, which every conservative, every libertarian, every Christian, every church I know has had Facebook and Twitter block them and not let them reach people. It's a total attack on America and on freedom. Now, coming up, we also have a petition on Infowars.com that I will deliver to the president. And it's important to sign the petition, too, so we know that you're into the First Amendment and you want to get alerts on what's happening. So you can also contact Congress. I'm going to send you the petition to Congress to free Julian Assange, who as early as tomorrow, they say, could be kicked out of the Ecuadorian embassy and shipped back to the United States to face trial for espionage, for leaking criminal activity that the government was involved in. The man deserves a medal. He deserves a high honor, a Presidential Freedom Award. He does not deserve to be put in a prison. But wait for that giant trial. Let's get the president to pardon him. We've already gotten the president to pardon folks before. They even gave us credit for that. I will get this information to the president. You can be absolutely assured of that. So go to Infowars.com. It's red linked at Infowars.com. Petition to Trump. Pardon Julian Assange. Now, that said, we are running a big special right now, 40% off, out of the gates, the krill oil, the fish oil, and the honor roll. That's a whole bunch of the key oils known to be really good for the brain if you're in college or school or just want your brain to operate well. It's very well known what it does. It's very well known how powerful it is. It's very well known what it can do for you. And you can get them 25% off when you buy them individually, or you can get them 40% off. And these are all 2-month supplies, big glass bottles, absolutely jam-packed. Now, I've been taking pills out of this one, so it's not totally full. But again, if you study fish oil, this is the very best because we have the very expensive extraction process that makes sure that it gets the mercury out to non-detectable levels, so you just get the good benefits of fish oil that are so well known for the brain, the heart, the skin, everything. So honor roll, and if you just look at these little gems, you owe it to your children, you owe it to yourself. Just the focus, the energy, everything that this does. This is what your brain operates off of. It's well documented, and we've put out the best fish oil out there. I mean, drug companies are even patenting this stuff now and coming out with prescriptions of it for $300. It's ridiculous. And then try to have the FDA come in and say, you can't sell fish oil because they don't want you to have it. They do not want you to have it. They want a bunch of idiot morons out there. Well, God gave us this, so take advantage of it and fund the InfoWar. Thank you for standing with InfoWars. Without you, Soros, the globalists would have won. Instead, we're in one hell of a fight, and we can win if we just stay focused. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live, and we are broadcasting worldwide. You know, if I even try to properly address what's happening, I just get really, really angry at myself and feel like I'm not doing it justice. It's that crazy. The organized crime nature of thousands of establishment publications and so-called news organizations perpetuating violence against Trump supporters, perpetuating civil war, perpetuating hashtag hunt Republicans, perpetuating Antifa, perpetuating fake wars that they lied about WMDs to get us into. And then to see that thread throughout the publication saying InfoWars should be taken off the air for perpetuating violence. And then they don't even have any examples they can use unless it was the whole tongue-in-cheek thing about high noon political shootout with Robert Mueller. which was 100% clear. But they don't even really give that example because they know it doesn't fly. They just say, oh, perpetuating violence against LGBT and perpetuating violence against Muslims and perpetuating child endangerment, and then don't show you what it is. Do you understand what fundamental frauds, these SJWs that go get their worthless degrees, and then they go get paid $10,000 a year on average to work for these so-called publications like Vox and Vice and all the rest of it, to openly say we want Alex Jones deplatformed? Think about that. They don't want us having access to the market of ideas because no one wants to read them, no one wants to see them, and there's so-called news organizations calling for other people's speech, whether they call us news or not, to be taken down. But here's the problem you've got. Every member of Congress who's a Republican is going and learning now with the different tech sites that are out there. They can check and see if they've been shadow banned. And they're all finding out that they've been choked back 90% or more, in some cases to where no one can see their tweets unless you go to the page. I used to send out tweets, the average retweet like 10,000. They shadow banned us so bad until Congress got involved, and now we're still 90%, that you'd get one retweet. No one could see it. And then they'd go, oh no, we only moderate tweets that are dangerous or hateful. I'd try to send a clip out of President Trump talking about unity and bringing America together and fighting racism, and that's the type of thing that would get no retweets because they don't want unity. They want division. Every Netflix show, every movie, every magazine, it's all race war, race war, race war, race war, race war, race war, negativity, 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 lies, fraud, disinfo. I got to working on stuff during the break and got distracted, and I'm not ready to get into the invasion of Europe and the invasion of the U.S. and the invasion ship slamming in and what's really behind that. I'm going to do that next segment. But I've got to stay in here during the break and not go do 5 other jobs. Because that's what I do, is I make the decisions basically on everything around here. And I try not to, but a lot of times I have to. We got a great crew. And I'm going to do my best. But this is so premeditated. It's so destructive. And everything they're doing is basically a giant bullying temper tantrum. And everything they're saying about us is what they're really doing. They are licking their chops. And what one media organization does is they'll put out the first lie, and then the next group embellishes, and then more embellish, and then more embellish, and like a game of telephone, you know, where you go around the table and whisper something in somebody's ear, and by the time it gets around the table, it's a totally new story. Doesn't even represent what the first person said once it goes through 10 people. They're still saying, I beat up a child in an unknown town. They don't say where, when, police report. They just say, Jones is being kicked off YouTube and Facebook because he beat up a child. Jones is a bully. It's what you hear over and over and over again. Jones bullied the anti-gun people in Parkland. It really is. Mind-blowing to see this level of lies. But that's what they do. And imagine being the president where they won't look at any of his accomplishments. They won't look at any of the positive things that have been done. All they do is fight as hard as they can to suppress that information from coming out. President Trump tweeted a short video I'm going to play here showing the accomplishments of the last year and a half. And sure enough, I went and looked. Twitter is blocking us and others being able to share this because they want to demoralize the country. They want to dumb it down. They want to control it. Here's what they don't want you to see.
Nobody said it was going to be easy for us, but we will never be stopped.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created.
Record low unemployment and a record high stock market. The Trump economy is red hot.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Now Kim Jong-un says President Trump will pay dearly for those words.
Getting a good picture, everybody, so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
North Korea now committing to complete denuclearization.
I mean, it's truly remarkable what he's doing. He has done more than any president in recent history, certainly in the last half century.
He's not a politician. He's one of us. Never, ever, ever give up.
Never stop fighting for what you believe in and for the people who care about you. Carry yourself with dignity and pride. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. Embrace that label because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make a real and lasting difference. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation.
3 American hostages are back home.
I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit. Seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. The forgotten man and the forgotten woman. You're not forgotten anymore.
A lot of people ask me, Alex, how do you keep predicting what's going to happen? And how did you know how Trump would counter the globalist? Because I've researched how the world government works. I've researched how United States power operates. I know who the players are. I've read the Bretton Woods Agreement. I've read the white papers written by the top globalists going back 100 years, the Rockefeller Foundation. I mean, I really know how the world works. And it's not what you see on CNN, for sure. And there has been a decision by the most powerful corporations in the world to bring down the West and to bring down the middle class and to bring down the Renaissance and to bring down the idea of upwardly mobile individuals. And the argument is, oh, austerity's good to save the earth. But really, it's about political control and being able to dictate exactly how people live and what they do. Now, they say a picture can tell 1,000 words. Well, video can tell 1,000,000 words. And there have been over 10 million military-age men of the 12 million people that have come in the last 5 years, 6 years to Europe. And some numbers are even higher. Now, think about those numbers. And almost all of them are military-age men. And when you watch these videos, if you're a radio listener, go up to Infowars.com. There's new footage, even more dramatic than what we've seen in previous years, of what looks like invasion boats from the Marine invasion of the islands controlled by the Japanese. And it's the Spanish on different sea resorts as boat after boat pulls up and over 100 people disgorge off of each boat. And there are dozens of these new videos popping up. And then there's video hours later inland with them robbing cars, carjacking, raping, killing. There is an exodus out of North Africa, one of the most dangerous places in the world, out of failed places like Libya, pouring in. And once these populations get there, it just completely blows everyone away because of the crime rate and the insanity and the attacks that take place. This video is so dramatic. But the globalists don't want you to know that they've got this invasion in full swing and that they plan to bring in 200 million North Africans by 2035. And that they want, the UN announced last week, 600 million Latin Americans by 2050. And it's the UN and UNESCO that sets the goals, and in Spain and the other EU countries, the UN sets the migration rules. They set the invasion rules. They set the US rules via the State Department, via UNESCO, until last year when President Trump said, we're not going to have the UN run the refugee program anymore. They're letting people in from unvetted nations like Somalia and Sudan who are terrorists. Oh, and I almost forgot. Remember the Manchester bombing that was Islamic? And if you said it was Islamic, Twitter and Facebook would kick you off or block you. Turns out the bomber was saved 4 years ago in Syria by the British Royal Navy. Headline out of the Daily Mail. Brits outraged as it's discovered that he was saved, it was really an al-Qaeda fighter, by the British Navy in Syria. He was there fighting against Assad, and then he was brought back and put on full welfare with a town estate home, is what it's called, better than what a veteran would get, and weekly money. That was on Infowars.com today. Just type it in. Here's the headline. Brits outraged to learn Manchester bomber was saved by the British Royal Navy. Now, think about that. And think about that long and hard and let that sink in. Brits furious amid reports UK Navy rescued Manchester bomber prior to attack. The attack was a year ago. They saved him 3 years before, 4 years ago. And he had free welfare and everything. And he could wear his nightgown, his little Islamic nightgown. He could do whatever he wanted. But it's okay, though, because you see, Saudi man, let's show people this video. Oh, by the way, they'll probably take this off Facebook or Twitter because it violates Islamic law to show a Muslim man kissing a Muslim woman. I have to be Sharia compliant. It's hateful that I say I don't want to live under this or pay for it. Saudi man arrested after he dared to kiss his girlfriend on the cheek as he taught her to drive. They've got the new hijab Barbie. In a lot of Islamic countries, hijab Barbie would be stoned to death. Isn't that terrible? If she wasn't wearing a full hijab. So now we need our hijab Barbie, and I've seen CNN and others have these whole pieces about how great it is to be Islamic, and they're teaching girls in school how to do it just like they do in Germany. It's the same program. And they hand out sex manuals to the Muslim men on how to pick up young European girls. That's the headline. How to have sex with them. And the judges have ruled you can have sex with 9-year-olds because it's your religion. Finland ruled a month ago that they can have sex with your 9-year-old daughter. Right here, this guy's 25. That's his 14-year-old German girlfriend. And it's a show for teens about how much fun it is and how hot it is to get your Muslim boyfriend. Boy, they're not force-feeding any of this, are they? And the show's like, so she's 14. It's love. Ha, ha, ha. Just don't get on an airplane with one of those husbands and go to the Middle East, because a lot of those guys have flown 5 or 6 brides in that never came back. Better warn your daughters about that, because they'll be watching MTV and stuff and thinking how cool it is. And wanting to, TV said it. I want to discover how much fun it is. That's why they're all trying to flee and come here so they can blow up your Manchester event and blow some little girl's legs off. And when I said how terrible it was that the left keeps getting attacked by the people they brought in, the media said that I praised the bomber and that I attacked the girls in Manchester. Remember that? Jones says they deserved it. No, I didn't say that. I said, why'd their parents, many of them leftist, agree to this and bring them in? And why does the left sit there in Stockholm Syndrome and let this happen? See, they're not the bad guys. It's me. I'm the bully, see? So, Saudi man arrested after he dared to kiss his girlfriend wearing a full hijab. Now, Croatia under fire for defending its border. It's the new invasion site after the Muslim country of Albania already took 1/3 of Serbia under UN, NATO bombing as their air support. Of course, they've slaughtered literally hundreds of thousands of the Serbs. Serbs never started the war. It's all admitted. But our media just said the Serbs are bad. And so, but now the Croatians are under attack. And the EU says they may send in an EU army to open up the vital migration lane. They've also sent UN troops into Macedonia, formerly part of Greece, where old Alexander the Great's daddy came from. Little factoid of history. And they have now opened it up and blasted it wide open. So let me tell you, the walls are falling. And the walls are falling here, and they're occupying ICE, and they're saying Trump was mean to a little girl that was never taken from her parents, and it's all lies. But they don't care because it's the triumph of fraud. But meanwhile, the Saudi king, Yahoo News is reporting, French news agency, has his own private mega city, his own treasure city that isn't quite completed yet. That's where he vacations. And when he goes to places like the south of France, they close 5 miles of beach. Saudi king holidays in still unbuilt megacity, Neom. $500 billion megacity. And how many refugees has Saudi Arabia taken? 0. They have tent cities for 2 million fully air-conditioned just sitting there waiting for an emergency. But they won't take one. But you need to take 10 million more. You need to take 200 million more, says Macron. Vive la France! No, they are sacrificing the West in a huge satanic operation. We need your funding. We need your support. We need your prayers. We're fighting hard. Are you? We're taking action. People said, why didn't somebody take action? We took action. We've got beachheads. We're taking heavy fire. We need support now. Huge sales, 40% off on many of our best sellers at InfoWarsStore.com. Secret 12, Winter Sun. $100 off the Alexa Pure Breeze air filtration system. 40% off the combo deal on the best fish oil you'll find. Fund us or basically destroy yourself. Well, there's one thing the globalists hate more than anything, and that's success of individuals, success of America, success when it comes to the free market. And so I'm going to play something right now that they fear, that they're trying to censor across the internet right now, put out by the amazing folks at Fury Productions.
Nobody said it was going to be easy for us, but we will never be stopped.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created.
Record low unemployment and a record high stock market. The Trump economy is red hot.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Now Kim Jong-un says President Trump will pay dearly for those words.
Getting a good picture, everybody, so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
North Korea now committing to complete denuclearization.
I mean, it's truly remarkable what he's doing. He has done more than any president in recent history, certainly in the last half century.
He's not a politician. He's one of us. Never, ever, ever give up.
Never stop fighting for what you believe in. and for the people who care about you. Carry yourself with dignity and pride. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. Embrace that label, because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make a real and lasting difference. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation.
3 American hostages are back home.
I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit. Seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. The forgotten man and the forgotten woman. You're not forgotten anymore.
You're not forgotten anymore. And where'd that come from? That came from grassroots organization that has delivered hundreds of millions of views to the dozens of videos they've put out. Not from the campaign, not from the establishment, but from the grassroots. And that's what the big tech giants fear. It's what they're censoring and trying to block. You are not forgotten anymore because Trump wants a pro-human future. The globalists, the eugenicists, want an anti-human future. That's what Elon Musk and others have warned you, and Bill Joy. They've been in the meetings. It's super diabolical. Trump wants a human future for himself and his family in his name. He loves himself. He loves you. He's not a self-loather. He's not projecting his hatred of himself on you because he loves himself. And he believes in you, and I believe in you. We're not going to be censored. We're not going to be blocked. We're not going to be forced down. I'm stronger because of all this persecution. Doesn't mean I like it, but let me tell you, prosperity makes monsters. Adversity makes men. And this is what makes us strong, is this animating contest of liberty. And we're doing it together, and we're winning. So God bless you all, and God bless President Trump. And I'm so glad to be an outsider. I'm so glad to be a trailblazer with you, all of us together. I love you, and I appreciate you. We'll be right back on the other side with other amazing modern Paul Revere's facing Antifa, and Antifa's claims they're coming to kill everyone. We'll be right back. You know, President Trump talks about how we need to be trailblazers, how we need to be outsiders, how we need to expose the current stagnant system that's been suppressing us, wanting to make us poor so he can consolidate control and buy us up for pennies on the dollar. That really is the globalist system. And he's absolutely right. So it is an honor to be persecuted by the globalist and to be lied about and to be demonized. But it's an honor to draw them out so we can show who they are, so that you take action and you take the country back politically, culturally, spiritually, financially. Another hero is Julian Assange, who's been in solitary confinement in a closet-size room. They converted a closet with a bed and enough room for a laptop. They took that away over a year ago. No communication with the outside. It's all been one hell of a time for him, and he was very bipartisan in that he exposed Republicans, he exposed Democrats. He very judiciously, very, very judiciously released information that exposed criminal activity of the NSA, criminal activity of the CIA, illegal spying on Congress, illegal spying on Trump, illegal spying on me. The DEA then gave us information. We'd indeed been spied on going back to 9 years ago when Obama got into office. There was my name and phone numbers no one knew. Do you have a tendency to kind of have an office line and you never use it? And it's like, they even had my private office line that I might do radio interviews on once every couple weeks. But they had my home number, my old cell, my new cell, and my office line. And they had Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago private apartment number that I had. Can you imagine when I saw that, and I never had the nerve to call the number that I was given to his Mar-a-Lago room? I still have it. And there I was looking at his Trump Tower private number, his switchboard number, his Mar-a-Lago number, and we published that at risk. No media coverage. Total proof of Obama spying on Trump and yours truly a decade ago. Think about that. And that's federal people that have access to those NSA databases the DEA does. And imagine they see it in the news last year that we say we've been spied on, the media's lying about it, and all of a sudden we get the documents via people associated with Arpaio, I'll leave it at that, and we publish them. And should it have been the biggest story ever? Absolutely. And why do they want to shut off air? Because they know at any time we can get things like that again, and we've got the courage to slam it out there. But let me tell you who else has got courage. The man we're about to talk to for the balance of the hour, and he'll cover the waterfront with us. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the real deal. And America's had freedom so long, people don't recognize real tyranny when it hits them right between the eyes. So pray for America, pray for President Trump, please pray for InfoWars, and pray for the gentleman we're about to talk to here in a moment, because the bullies are out in force trying to intimidate us into submission. It's not working, and they don't know what to do. Now, I can tell you, I got 120,000 signatures delivered to the president concerning internet censorship and shadow banning, and asking him to form a commission and to get the different people that have been victims of it, who are prominent, but also the general public, together to show a compendium and an example of it. And I can tell you, I was then asked to put together a report by certain individuals, I'll leave it at that, but that report has gotten to Congress and the president 2 weeks ago, and that you now see the president tweeting about he's gotten the reports and he knows about the shadow banning and it's illegal. So he had to get the economy turned on first. He had to get the border secured first. He had to get the traitors out of some areas of the government first. Now he can move into showing the attacks on free speech. It's a popular issue. It's an important issue. It's paramount. And that's top linked on Infowars.com, save the internet. But everyone needs to go to Infowars.com. The article is right up there at the top of the page, red linked. Petition to Trump, pardon Julian Assange. We go over all the facts, and we go over the fact that he engaged in regular journalistic activity and did a wonderful job being advised by top journalism professors around the world, and that he was very, very fair about what he did, and that you need to send the message that he's a hero. Now, I know they claim he's a Russian agent with no evidence and all the rest of that garbage, even though they've released stuff on Russia and Israel as well, and China. But it doesn't matter. It's the right thing to do. And you wouldn't have gotten elected without Drudge. You wouldn't have gotten elected without what you've done, obviously. You can't say it's any one person, but without any of us together, it wouldn't have happened. So we need the president to pardon Julian Assange. We've got another change.org petition that's got a lot of signatures dealing with stopping shadow banning. And all of this just draws attention. All of this just chips away at what they're doing. But if it wasn't for Julian Assange, you can say clearly that the president wouldn't have been elected. And you said in a speech, I don't care who got her illegal server. It's illegal. It's about what she did that's wrong. Don't change the subject. Go back to that instinct, sir. But you told Assange, release it. You said release more stuff. And he's in the crosshairs. And he needs to be pardoned if he's brought back to the United States. If you signal you're going to pardon him, there's no real charges in England. There's only this bail jumping thing. He will be released. The fake sex charges that 2 women connected to the CIA, he picked up at a bar, who went back to his hotel room and had sex with Assange. And then later they decided maybe that one of them didn't give him permission. Oldest trick in the book, folks. That's all been dropped. He wouldn't be the first man let his, you know what, get him in trouble. So I'm in the same boat as Assange and Trump and others that are willing to tell the truth. So we need the president to do this, but I need you first to go sign the petition at Infowars.com. There's a big link up there that says Save the Internet that goes to our special report detailing how the shadow banning is going on. There's 11,931 signatures. I only plugged it at the end of the show yesterday. We need to get a couple 100,000 signatures to really get attention. And I'll pull the stunt like I already did last time of shipping an entire pallet at that time to Trump Tower. It made quite a stir, but it got attention. You could also put a little note about what you wanted to say to the president on there. Obviously, he didn't read them all. This time, we're going to deliver it electronically to Congress. We're going to read some of the comments you make. And I think I may go ahead and pull the stunt again because under the mail, they have to take it. And I think I may ship all of them on one-page sheets to Congress and to the White House. But regardless, it's very important. Plus, then, if you give us your email, we can communicate with you on that list about free speech attacks and what's happening. So create a special email if you want, just for the First Amendment and for Assange and for all of this, and go sign up at Infowars.com right now. There's an article that has it linked, petition to Trump, pardon Julian Assange. We're going to add a link in that Save the Internet article right there. We're going to add a link to that up there. If you click on Save the Internet, they're at the top of Infowars.com. We're going to add a link in there, too, to the petition right there on that link as well. So Infowars.com right now. When we come back, Joey Gibson is got another rally coming up, another prayer vigil in the anti-free speech globalist zone of Portland. And the official Antifa says they're coming out with guns. These people need our prayers, and they need your bodies out there. We'll be back. I want to explain something here. When I say there have been over 10,000 articles the last week, it's way worse than that. There have been like 12 Reuters articles, more than 10 AP articles. They take the Austin American Statesman articles every day about me, lying about me, and then they publish it in hundreds of newspapers. So when I say 10,000, ladies and gentlemen, every few minutes there's new articles. HBO saying ban Alex Jones, the Washington Post, on and on and on and on. Yeah, there's the Washington Post. This will never be normal. Ban him, ban him. He just got banned on YouTube and Facebook for bullying a child. And then nowhere in a giant exercise of journalistic fraud and journalistic deception and in organized criminal deception. I mean, the amount of discipline that the so-called entire profession of journalists lie professionally about me and the president is simply, absolutely, totally, and completely mind-blowing. Joining us for the rest of the hour is Joey Gibson. Talk about being lied about. Here's the article from ZeroHedge.com on Infowars.com. You got to go read this. Better bring our own guns. Portland Antifa plotting direct confrontation at pro-Trump rally. On their official Facebook, Twitter pages, they openly say, the leaders of it, that after the Nazis came out and attacked LGBT and black people and attacked us, we're bringing guns this time. Talk about total mental illness or just total deception. Talk about that, ladies and gentlemen, because there are no white supremacists out at these things. Antifa has been attacking people for no reason. They attacked a bunch of people a few weeks ago and got their butts kicked. Even the local liberal news admitted Antifa attacked. The police took weapons from them, guns, ammo, knives, clubs. And then they say, we've been attacked by Nazis who are attacking gay people, so we're going to go out and, quote, eliminate folks. That's Antifa beating up a transsexual. But then the transsexual fought back, so Antifa had the video removed, I read, saying that they were bullied, and YouTube agreed. They said when 7 guys beat up a transsexual, if they're Antifa, the transsexual's bad. Antifa is at the hierarchy of leftist gods. It's the top. So let's go to our guest for the balance of the hour, Joey Gibson, GibsonForFreedom.com, who saw this evil the last few years, the attacks on Trump supporters, began doing prayer vigils. And we've had many of the folks on, black folks, white folks, Hispanic, Asian, a lot of liberals come out that are real liberals, and they go, man, yeah. Well, finally, they had their event in San Francisco, remember, and finally it made Pelosi admit they were a terror group because they started beating the cops up and then just randomly beating other people up and screaming the N-word. So and I'm not going to show those videos, but there was another big fight at the Hollywood Star. The last two fights, the people attacking Trump supporters keep calling them the N-word. So, wow, you know someone by their enemies. Joey Gibson, you've got another event coming up. You've got a lot of courage this weekend. We're sending reporters there. I would absolutely love to come, and I need to be there, but I am tied down. The enemy has 3 lawsuits against me here in Austin that we're battling to try to get me off air, but I've got special exception to be able to be on air. People recognize that's happening, so I don't have to be in all these court hearings. Even though judges normally want that, it's very clear this is deliberate to delay me here. Or I would be there with you, Joey. I believe Owen Schroyer is going, right? So I know back a few weeks ago he is going. Yeah, Owen and Jake. So much is happening, ladies and gentlemen. I can't keep track of it anymore. So, Joey, we're praying for you. I just went over what they said about you. We'll read more of it in the next segment that's longer. But, I mean, I tell you, to exercise freedom in this country, they're shadow banning everybody. They're blocking Republican Congress people from tweeting. They are attacking people on the street. They're saying, take us off Spotify, ban us. I mean, the left has gone into full war mode. I think it's ahead of the elections, and I think they're going to pull something big. Not just this weekend. I think they're going to go for broke. What do you think?
Yeah, I have a gut feeling. A lot of people have kind of been feeling the same way. We feel like something big is going to happen. I think August 4th will be big. There's going to be a lot of people down there, but there's a lot of rhetoric. It's weird how all the news media outlets out of nowhere in coordination come out with the exact same story that I specifically moved the rally so that we can bring guns and basically imply that we want to escalate and shoot people, which is completely not true. We've always had guns at every single rally that we have. We just don't pull them out. So,
well, we have Antifa all over the country, but also here to Owen Schroyer, who I'm going to ask to come in the studio. I should have thought of that. Where he's trying to go to a vigil for the lady killed by the illegal alien. The San Francisco virtue signalers said, hey, you're allowed to kill her. No big deal. Good job. You know, they've been deported 4 times and all the rest of it. They bring out AK-47s in front of the police with their fingers on the trigger. That's illegal. And that's brandishing under Texas law. And they say, but we're a blue city. And they say, are you shaking? Are you afraid? We're not going to let you. Then they bump him and hit him with clubs. And the police said, we're ordered to stand down. What do you make of that, Joey?
Absolutely. Oh, I saw that. I remember that when that happened. That was crazy. And I remember Owen Schroyer was trying to like walk around them, and then all he had to do was kind of run and jog, and he got around. But we've seen this all the time. If you look at what happened with ICE in Portland, they're now complaining about the fact that the Portland police, the mayor had the Portland police stand down when ICE officials called the police because they felt like their lives are in danger. The Portland police refused to show up to help them. And so we have a political problem right now in these far left cities. And that's why we've been doing everything that we do, especially down in Berkeley, San Francisco, Portland, Olympia, to go in there and challenge it. Because if you don't challenge it, then the world won't see it. The country won't see it, and there will be no pressure on these mayors and the city council members.
Well, you've got all these mayors saying revolt, don't arrest MS-13, resist the police. I mean, this is real dangerous sedition. And what's up with the N-word? Every demonstration now, it's white people and others screaming the N-word at black officers. What the hell's going on there?
I don't know. It's really ironic. It's like everything's flipped upside down now. Right is left, left and right, up is down. Because I see these people, we have a lot of people from the LGBT community that march with us. As you saw, that was Amber. She's a transsexual. We have Erin. She's that transsexual that was on top of a guy beating him up who tried to attack her. And they say some of those derogatory words towards them, but yet they say that we're the ones that are homophobic and we're trying to attack people from the LGBT community. We believe in freedom. So I don't care what you do in your house. I don't care who you want to marry. It's not my problem. You can do and say whatever you want. Just don't hurt other people. That's
and they project onto me that I'm being kicked off the internet for child bullying and never show what I did because I didn't do anything. And then they say that I'm calling for violence against LBG whatever. That's total bull.
Yeah, I get that all the time. I would say one of the craziest things is they constantly say that I have hate speech. And so we had put out a $2,000 bounty for anyone that can find any hate speech, anything that I've said that's remotely hateful, and they get $2,000. And no one's even tried to bring up anything, because everything that I've said is from my heart, is genuine.
That's right. Stay there. Well, you're loving. You're a real Christian like Christ. We're going to bring everybody in here. We're not Pharisees, but that's it. Is that it's all about control the language and making these groups think they're victims and that we're the enemy, and then hyping them up to physically attack us, saying we're Nazis. We'll be back to talk about the big rally coming up this weekend and how you can be there. Owen Schroyer and more of our crew will be there, so please pray for them. This is serious business, but we've got to exercise the First Amendment or lose it. You know, every couple generations has to go through a war, and we're going through a 21st century psychological war, a war of bullying, a war of lies, a war of intimidation. And whatever the enemy does to us, the big mega banks, the big media they own, literally communist Chinese funded and backed. They own our debt. They own Hollywood. I mean, we're so far down the rat hole. Globalism is about selling out the nation state. And so they turn around and then tell those of us that are trying to reboot the country, trying to relaunch things successfully, trying to bring optimism, positivity, American values, they turn around and say, we're bad people. We're racist. We're this or that. Alex is getting kicked off the internet for child endangerment. They don't say what I did. I showed a viral video that was all over the news of a kid being pushed to the ground after he punches an adult in the face 4 times. And I said, look at this punk kid. It's like an SJW. Then we showed a bunch of SJWs punching people, Antifa punching women, and then women kicking their ass. And they said, oh, you're glorifying the kid getting pushed. We were illustrating how these are just grown-up little punk kids. The police report came in on that kid. He was reportedly going around pushing adults, pushing kids to the ground, just going crazy because no one would stand up to him. And finally, he pushes and hits an adult 4 times, and the adult pushes him to the ground. Then he fake cries and gets back up and is fine. And says, you're effing going to prison, which, of course, he didn't. But that's the essence of leftist garbage. You read this article at Infowars.com. And again, they shadow ban that everywhere, so you can promote it off newswars.com or prisonplanet.com. They aren't as banned. They aren't the big vaunted name that the SJWs recognize that all run the media, because they've created these people in the universities, and now they've deployed them into our daily lives to be our minders, to be our controllers. I don't speak Spanish, and I've asked people that speak Spanish what it means, and they go, that may be some Cuban thing. We don't really know, but it's the intro to Scarface. And they're saying, oh, what's this scar? You know, how'd you get that? You know, what were you in prison for, Tony? He says, listen, I love America. My dad was born in America. I want the American dream. Just like Jimmy Carter says, let me in. And they say, are you a communist? And that's when he blows up and he says, am I a communist? You want a Chavano, whatever that means in Spanish, no one can tell me, on every corner telling you what to eat, where to sleep, what to wear, what to do. I eat squid 3 times a day. I got squid coming out my rear end here. I want America. I want prosperity. I want it now. If people want that, I say, get in here. But you want to come here and get a bunch of free crap and bitch and complain and piss all over everything and say families are bad and God's bad and men are bad and women are bad. Everything that's good's bad. Everything that's strong's bad. They're assaulting us. They're demoralizing us. They're attacking us. And I'm telling you, the system under Cuba or either North Korea or Venezuela, they're bringing that here, folks. And they got thugs that openly say on their local websites that if I'm seen in public and I still go out, they're going to do you know what? In America. And then they use the threats of Antifa against me as an excuse to try to take my kids right now. But I'm not down at the courthouse where they're trying to take my kids right now. God told me, stay at the helm of this operation and move forward no matter what they do. And if I get destroyed in the process, politically, it's what I'm supposed to do. I win by doing the right thing, just like our guest, Joey Gibson. Joey Gibson for freedom.com. I'm ranting here. I want you to get into the rally coming up, your awakening, why you decided to do this, and just how Antifa 2 rallies ago that inspired you to come out there, beat up little kids, pepper spray babies and strollers, attack women. They always attack people in wheelchairs. They're like the archetypal coward, where like they don't even think it's funny that they're such cowards. They think it's cool that they attack women. And then you guys show up. They openly, the news admits, attack you. We can roll the footage. You guys kick their ass. Each one of you taking out like 10 of them. I mean, it's incredible footage. It goes on and on. You got to watch it in slow motion. And then they say, we got attacked by Nazis that attack black people and LGBT. And we're coming out with guns to eliminate them. I mean, they're hitting people in the head with clubs. They're such cowards. And then they create this false reality how they need to come out and eliminate you because you want to exercise the free speech. And they say these lies. It's delusional. Or are they lying to the public? Or what is the point of their total deception?
I don't know what the deal is with these guys, but I'll tell you this much. It's pure hate. It's hatred. It's bigotry. They're so disrespectful to people. They have no sense of honor. And it's all over. And Portland's really bad. You know, I've been to all the cities around the country. Portland is by far the worst. It's one of the worst cities in this country. And it's filled with so much darkness. And that's why I'm so motivated to continue to go in there to expose what it's like there. Because if we don't go in there, we don't bring out all this hate onto the streets from Antifa and the communists or just people on the far left, you know, people won't see it because a lot of their hatred is done behind the scenes where the country won't see it. You know, when they dox people or they go after you. And they just simply just try to make fun of everybody they disagree with. It is insane and it's crazy. And so I'm more than happy to go down there. I don't really care what the risks are. I'm happy to go down there and to stand up for freedom and stand up for God.
Well, I'm going to tell Antifa something. We've already been doxing them locally for about 2 years, and I've been so busy I haven't really moved on them yet politically. But I'm not going to tell them what we're about to do, but very, very soon, legal and lawful, they are going to get confronted in their workplaces and where they go to school, where they go to college. We've had people in their meetings with the professors. We've given it to the FBI. The FBI has been unable to act on it. So people need to understand this is a true group of violent criminals who lust after killing police officers. And the police are so paralyzed, they can't even do anything because the blue cities are run by scumbags.
Well, here's what we have over them. Obviously, they cover their faces. So they have no way to motivate and inspire the public because they're faceless. They don't have a leader, right? They're just soldiers on the streets. And so that's one of the biggest things that we have is we have all these people, you know, like Will Johnson or myself or Tusi Talatani. We have people who are starting to become messengers to the public where people can look to and people they can be inspired to come out on the streets. It's like a message and it's real hope. It's people being excited to make real change. And that's why people love going into cities like Portland because everybody makes fun of Portland. If you don't live in Portland, everybody makes fun of Portland because of how horrible it is there. Even the mayor is a complete joke. He uses the police in this political game, and he does it to protect Antifa. He does it to attack ICE officers. He doesn't give ICE officers any backing at all. He completely supported the Occupy ICE, and it got so bad they had over 70 phone calls to the police over violence, over the fact that it was a biohazard. It was, they just had tons of issues. And look at what they call it. There.
They call it the ICE calls it a zone of terror. And that's what these blue, by the way, they admit Portland and San Francisco now have all their major conferences canceling, like all of them basically, because there's so much feces. There's just crap everywhere. And like drooling heroin heads and meth heads. I mean, these are hell zones.
Yes, they are. And if you go down there and you actually look people in their eyes, you can see there's something different about them. There's something happening in these cities that are without a doubt spiritual. I mean, it's unbelievable, but you have to see it for yourselves. If you come down to a rally or a march and you see these people who protest us, they're literally foaming from the mouth. We have tons of footage of that. That's not a joke. Like they're sitting there, it looks like they're having a seizure, yelling, cussing, and screaming. You try to have a conversation. One of my most favorite things to do is get this on film. Try to have a conversation and you ask them questions and you challenge the things that they say, but they can't back it up. They just start yelling and screaming and cussing. And so I think that it's really important that people see this with their own eyes in person, especially if you don't live in the area, because if we don't stop this now, it's going to take over the rest of the country.
Well, that's right. Well, what happens is they're told, be part of the system, you'll become powerful and rich. They're not. They're desperate. So they believe if they keep, like a compulsive gambler, betting on the system, they're pissed at themselves, at the system. They just don't know. They're like, if I just defend the system more, I'll finally be somebody. If I could run your life, if I could hurt Christians, if I could take people's kids, if I could, I'd be somebody if I could run their lives. Owen Schroyer's coming in to talk about this big event coming up this weekend. Stay with us. And stay with us, Joey Gibson of GibsonForFreedom.com. That's Merle Haggard that died last year. You know, they asked Merle Haggard in an interview, you can pull it up. They said, did you get them chemtrail things from Alex Jones? He's more of an old-fashioned liberal, but you know, a good liberal. He said, Alex Jones, and so they kept interviewing him. In fact, he got asked about it a couple times on radio, too. We played the clips years ago. And he said, listen, don't tell me those are crystal condensation. He goes, I know, you know, about jet airplanes and condensation and the fact that it leaves ice crystals. He goes, until about the mid-1990s, I never saw the trails sit there for an hour. And I never saw them form at a couple thousand feet. I've owned private jets. I know all about them. Pilots tell me something's going on in the atmosphere. And they admit there's a program. It doesn't mean every ice crystal in the sky is a weather modification, but they admit it's going on, and that's a fact. The CFR admits there's a whole secret Department of Energy program. And see, that's why they don't want Trump in there, because they don't want that stuff being discussed. Separate from that, Owen Schroyer's here, one of the great hosts of the War Room, who is going to be out there covering the event coming up. What is it, this Saturday or this Sunday, Joey Gibson? Again, repeat for us with your prayer vigil, why you're doing it, where it is, and Owen's going to be out there.
Yeah, it's Saturday, 12 p.m., and in Portland, Oregon, down at the waterfront. It's called the Salmon Springs. You can go to my Facebook page and get all the details, Patriot Prayer. Look at the event page. We also have shuttles. They're going to be picking people up from Vancouver, where the police do their job, where they will be safe, and there's not ridiculous gun laws. And we have armed buses that will be going down and dropping people off, and that will also be able to pick them up in any situation, even if it's an emergency. And so
now I've got GibsonForFreedom.com. What's the best site for folks to go to learn about the big pro-free speech event where they say, you don't show up in this town. We own this town. You don't have free speech, Christians or conservatives. You sit down and shut up. We're going to, you know, we're going to, quote, eliminate you. Again, all intimidation. You're calling their bluff in true John Wayne fashion. This isn't a movie, though. This is the real world, folks. So be what John Wayne wishes he was. And by the way, he was a patriot, went and beat up communists himself. But the point is, that's a little inside baseball. But Joey Gibson, I mean, this is the point. Where do people go?
Right there. You can see it on the screen. Patriot Prayer on Facebook. Go to the event page. It's a Gibson for Senate Freedom March. This is a campaign event in Portland. And so what we're going to do is we're basically going to make sure that we march, and we're going to protect ourselves. We don't expect any protection from the police. The goal is to get the country so outraged that they put the pressure on the mayor to actually respect the Constitution. That's what we do. We put so much pressure on the local politicians to the point where they break. Well,
that's right. I should have said up front, you're running for U.S. Senate as well. So that's the campaign site, GibsonForFreedom.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that a lot of people are they appreciate the fact that I'm a man that's willing to go out on the streets and put my life on the line, and to bring other people on the streets, and to you know, most politicians, they worship the big cities like Portland and Seattle, but I'm kind of saying I stand against it.
Well, you're certainly doing it. You're nothing's offensive. You know, the Southern Poverty Law Center, that's got its own problems with court documents coming out about things I can't even say on air, and young people. You know, they're claiming you're a violent group. They're claiming you're a white supremacist. All of it's a complete lie. These people are criminals.
Absolutely. You know, the irony of everything, I swear we're living in a complete era of deception, because our group is so diverse. Even the Proud Boys, the Northwest Proud Boys, they have so many people of color. We have so many people of color. We have women, men, grandmas, you know, transsexuals, gays.
If anything, the liberal media keeps minorities and people from going to Trump rallies. When they go, they're like, these are the nicest people I've ever seen. Just come and see what we're really like.
You'll see the life. We have spirit. We have life. We don't agree on everything, but we have fun. We enjoy ourselves. We're courageous, and we're really passionate. It's different, something that people are not experiencing in this life anymore. I'm telling you, you go to one of these rallies, one of these marches, your first one, you're hooked. You're addicted for life because you will feel the spirit.
Well, what is it, whether you're Hispanic, black, Asian, old, young, male, female, everybody out for liberty looks good. They're sharp. You know, even though they're a little overweight, whatever, they have life. They got a spring in their step. And then you look at the other people, they're like slithering caricatures of evil. Owen?
Well, I have been dealing with Antifa for almost 2 years now. I've had them stop my right to free speech, or attempt to, with their rifles that half the left says they want to ban the weapons. The other half uses them to intimidate me out of my right to free speech. There's the video right there. So it's just encouraging for me to see not just Joey Gibson leading this march, but other people that have been leading these marches, because this is how we defeat them. You know, I don't understand what drives somebody to go to a park and hold their AR and try to stop someone else from going in, other than some fake news report that makes them think that they're actually stopping a Nazi. So the more we actually show up and show our faces and say, hey, look, we're not Nazis. You know, we're just Christians. We're patriots. We're Americans. These are the values that we preach. There's nothing Nazi here. There's no.
Oh, they know you're not. They just, it's like, did you see the article from Zero Hedge?
No, Alex. It's like, do they?
Listen, did you see where they went? 2 separate times they came out and attacked black people and LGBT and viciously attacked us. Now we're taking guns to the event, and we're going to have to eliminate them to defend the minorities. They came out and attacked. No, it's all, even the news admits it. Even lying news had to admit it. And then they write these total fictions about how you were beating up LGBT. What is it like, Joey, to just know? I ask you again, is this delusion? Is this upside down world? What the hell are they talking about?
It's 2 things. There's 2 things. There's 2 types of people that protest us. Number one, there's the people, they know that we're not racist. They know that we're not fascist, but they're anti-capitalist. Okay, that's the communist section. And so they rile up the troops with the lies, the people that are usually below them. Okay, and then there's people below them that literally believe in the lies. Like, they do no research. They look at me, you know, an Asian, half Japanese, pretty brown dude. They think that I'm a white supremacist, and they don't even question it. And so half of it's brainwashing, but half of it's people trying to use this, you know, to further their own political gain, especially the communists. The communists hate me because I stand for freedom and God, and those are the 2 things they absolutely despise.
Amen to that. We're going to go to break and do 5 more minutes with you guys. And Mark Randazza, one of the top First Amendment lawyers, is coming in here to break down just this total assault. But let me tell you, they're building up for something big. I want to ask you both what you think that may be. But this is historic. Everybody needs to go to this event post-haste. Listen. I've done so many big specials on products that now, if I'm not doing specials, people aren't buying products. These are already really high-quality products, whether it's air filtration, water filtration, non-GMO heirloom seeds, you name it. And, I mean, we already discount some of this stuff where it hardly makes any money. So we sell a lot of it, but it's the catch-22 of, then it doesn't make money to fund the operation. We need to raise a lot of money. We need people to commit right now to go to InfoWarsStore.com and to stand with us, to stand with America, to stand with the victories we're having. I mean, we're the #1 issue, other than Trump, in the news saying deplatform us, shut us down. They're lying about us, never showing what we actually said. That we need your support. Plus, we make it easy. These are products you need. Took me years. I could have private labeled fish oil like that, but I wanted stuff that removes the mercury. I wanted the highest quality. I wanted the best. We have the honor roll for kids. It's all the concentrated ones that are good for the brain. Then I have the ultimate fish oil, wild harvested out of the northern fjords. So it's very, very clean, and then also extracted. And then we've got the ultimate krill oil, which is just amazing. All 3 of those are 40% off when you get them together, 25% off when you get them individually. They're 2-month supplies. You cannot beat this. This is the very best. 40% off, premium quality vitamin D3, winter sun, Secret 12, so amazing. 40% off as well. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. Beat the Heat special running right now at InfoWarsStore.com. Nascent iodine, the great X2, deep earth sourced. Go read the incredible reviews. That is 40% off. Great value, very strong and powerful product. We'll order it again, says Michael. Wow, we are so excited with this one. It's such a vigorous, life-affirming taste. We love it, and it just goes into what it does for people when they actually get the good halogen. 98% reviews on Power Reviews, 6,000 reviews on X2. No one else can top this. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. But whatever you do, remember us and know that without you funding us and getting great products, you need some very what's the term? Where things work together, symbiotic, non-zero-sum game. Symbiotic's the word I'm looking for, but it's beyond symbiotic exactly, because it isn't just two organisms helping each other and living in peace and helping each other. It's expanding life and energy and freedom out from that. And everything I do is very OCD neurotic. I'm not OCD about carrying the trash out or having, everything perfect in my life, but I'm very OCD about I just have to, everything I do has to help other people, because I realize I'm building something for me and my family. It's very selfish. I'm so selfish. I'm the most unselfish person you probably ever meet, because I'm so selfish. You understand? Like I don't piss in the pool because I don't want to swim other people's piss. But everybody else just goes piss and pees in it. It's kind of the same deal. Or don't crap in the pool. See, I'm so selfish, I don't crap in the pool because I don't want you doing it either. See how that works? So we're in a 21st century, fifth generation war of media, of resources, of brainwashing, of intimidation. And so you got 10 million military-age men that already invaded Europe. They're burning, killing, raping. They're allowed to. They're protected. You got the same thing happening out of Latin America, and the juries are saying, shoot a woman in the back in cold blood, we're going to let you go. Good job. This is the signal to bring down the borders. They're saying occupy everything, bring down the ICE offices. This is a UN plan to use the third world to take down the first world. It's very, very simple. They admit the plan. And you look at the invasion footage, the new invasion footage, hundreds of these ships in this last few days landing from North Africa, funded by Soros. He admits it. He paid for $500 million of those rubber boats to come in and invade. And then we have hours later raping, robbing, stealing. I mean, it's like Day of the Dead in many areas of North Africa. The globalists made Libya fail, blew that open into sub-Saharan Africa, opened up a corridor as an invasion port, just like they tried to bring down Syria as the invasion into Europe, but that got stopped. This is 21st century warfare, and so people need to understand that they're not going to announce it's happening. They're going to try to suppress all of us that are raising the alarm. Joey Gibson, Owen Schroyer, you've got the big event coming up. You're going to be there, Owen, this Saturday in Portland, high noon. Everybody should find out more. Closing comments, Joey, and just go with God, via con Dios, and Owen.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say one of the most important things is that we just take a stand, show up, stand up for what you believe in. That's why I do what I do. I just want to inspire the country. For far too long, we've kept our heads down. We've been hiding for so long, and look at where it's gotten us. I think that when you truly find a higher cause, you find a purpose, a passion that's not about yourself. It's about something bigger than yourselves. Not only will you really be making change in this country, in this world, you'll be the happiest you've ever felt in your entire life. You will feel so much passion. You'll have a fire in your heart. And so I'm challenging those of you who are afraid, if you just show up, stand up for what you believe in, you will change and you'll become a man or woman that you never thought you can ever be.
And these Antifa are the scum of the earth cowards, and everybody's videotaping what's happening. There could be a provocateur or whatever, but we're scaring them because we're taking the field at every level, and they know. They know their intimidation isn't working. See, though, they're cowards. So they think intimidation will work on us. They don't know that it only spurs us to take action.
Well, the one thing I am afraid of, Alex, is what you just said, a provocateur being out there, somebody being out there with going with the mindset that I'm going to be the first to fire, or I'm going to be the first to do this, or I'm going to be the one that escalates things, and then they run off into the shadows. And
then blame it on patriots.
And the thing that's the scariest part about this to me is that you just won't have any law enforcement that's going to step in, and you won't have any politicians that are willing to step in. I know the mayor of
That's why we need overwhelming numbers of patriots there.
Yeah, and it looks like
Antifa's got, what, a couple hundred meth head goons? You guys are going to have thousands, right? I mean, it looks good.
Yeah, but like I said, the real threat is somebody that gets in there with the mindset that I'm going to be the one that escalates these things, and I'm going to slink off into the dark. Nobody ever knew I was here, and then I'll watch all the news come. Or who knows? Maybe there's an FBI provocateur there trying to spark this thing off to the
leftist operative like Reality Winner. What do you say to that, Joey?
Oh, that's possible. They infiltrate us all the time. I will tell you this much, though. This time around, we're going to have a whole bunch of men infiltrating Antifa, all black bloc amongst them, because that's their biggest fault, okay? They don't know who's who in their crowd. So we'll be in there. But at the end of the day, I'm just putting my faith in God, going to go up there and just do what I can to keep it as peaceful as we can. Obviously, if they
But that's the key. Sometimes, and I commend you both. I mean, literally, you guys are my hero. I mean that. Sometimes you got to just square up against evil and let chips fall where they may.
Well, look at what I mean. I'm not trying to compare what we did to civil rights marches in Alabama during Martin Luther King's era, but there are fair comparisons to make. Why did Martin Luther King march in the middle of the streets? Why did he march across bridges?
Because they wouldn't let people do it.
Exactly. So he could show the hatred. And so he say, look, all I'm doing as a black man is marching here. Look at all the hate we get. And so then the nation sees it. And they're like, wow, these are real racists. This is a problem. That's essentially, again, I'm not trying to.
That's why I admire Martin Luther King, is he had courage.
But so that's what so it's just like, all right, we're just going to go march and then watch the crazies, watch the anti-American whatevers come out and show how violent and hateful they are.
Well, let's get Rufio and you and all the guys back on again. Joey Gibson, Freedom.com, running for Senate. Everybody get out there. Owen, you're doing a great job. Mark Randazza is coming in with big news. Thank you so much, buddy.
We'll see you there, Joey. We'll see you there.
Yeah, it's Chris, amazing. You know, I really don't know what to say at this point. I just know that the last thing we played, the establishment doesn't like you seeing success. So we're going to play a special report right now, and then we're going to come back with our guest in studio to get into the mega epic attack on free speech that's taking place right now. Because I don't have enough hype to accurately break down how big this is or how serious this is. But myself included, everyone kind of gets in this haze where we've never seen something like this before. We've never dealt with something like this. So we all just kind of take it on the chin. You can't take this on the chin. I sent a report to the president that I know he read, that I know it was delivered in his hands, days before he came out and said, I've got a lot of reports about shadow banning, very criminal. We're going to stop it. That's just the beginning. So we're going to have Mark Randazza, one of the top First Amendment lawyers in the country, definitely the bravest. The world of cowards, not being a coward makes you Superman. No one else will even take our case. It so happens he is one of the top First Amendment lawyers, if not the top. But I want to get into this important report here. And the InfoWar reaches historic proportions. And then we're going to get into Barbie wearing a hijab and people being arrested for kissing their fiancés in Saudi Arabia, which the left just thinks is great. The petition to Donald Trump, pardon Julian Assange. It's all coming up. But first, here is the InfoWar reaches historic proportions. They're making their move. Not just against InfoWars, but against everybody. And it's not just ahead of the midterms. It's a global crackdown on free speech. And they're very brazen about who's helping them do it, who's honchoing. And it's so historical. History is happening now. This is outrageous tyranny. It's extremely naked. And it operates like you're completely conscious, unconscious. A brave new world is here. It is the establishment's plan. And we are here simply trying to ring the alarm bell and expose it. Because the information is so on target about the globalist program, because it's from their own admissions, they were so arrogant, they bragged about for decades. They're scared of this broadcast and they want it shut down. They're obsessed with knocking it out. If you looked at the amount of demonization attacks on InfoWars in the last 23 years, it starts out at a trickle and then just exponentially goes up by 2016 and then goes into stratospheric, straight-up convulsions in the last 6 months. And now, tens of thousands of articles, news programs, local shows, fake letters to the editor.
An article posted to Slate.com describes this as a strike against a channel. Ms. Downs, how many strikes does a channel get?
Typically, a channel gets 3 strikes, and then we terminate the channel.
So the reason I ask is Alex Jones obviously is a well-known conspiracy theorist whose brand is bullying. He launched similar attacks against the families whose 6- and 7-year-old kids were slaughtered at Sandy Hook. And he's not the only one. Truthers have spread these lies, claiming that Sandy Hook never happened at all. A Slate article references a study by Jonathan Albright, director of the Tao Center for Digital Journalism at Columbia, who found 9,000 videos on YouTube with titles that are, and I quote, a mixture of shocking, vile, and promotional themes that include rape game jokes, shock reality, social experiments, celebrity pedophilia, false flag rants, and terror-related conspiracy theories dating back to the Oklahoma City attacks in 1995.
The entire leftist deep state, the entire foundation combine is launching attacks on InfoWars, the likes of which you only see before the country is tricked into invading some third world country. It's war-level propaganda. But see, InfoWars has been chosen as the test case for everybody else's speech to be taken. And we've worked really hard. The listeners have pushed really hard to get information into Congress's hands. And Congress has now seen the reports that we and others have put together detailing all of this. So we have a real fighting chance to get them educated about algorithms and shadow bans and community guidelines that are really run by the Southern Poverty Law Center, where they can say very, very subjectively, just up to them, what they say is offensive and what isn't. And then the key is misrepresent what you've said or done and not even show what you say or do that they claim is wrong. I mean, clearly you're covered under the First Amendment already, but then they misrepresent what you say, remove it, and then never show you what it is you supposedly said. Over 10,000 articles in the last 4 days in a Google search with the headline, Alex Jones bullying, Alex Jones child endangerment. So that's what they do, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they kill the truth. That's how they murder it. But beyond InfoWars, they're getting ready to make their big move. All right, folks, we're going to break, and we'll be back with Mark Randazza with how they're trying to rob your most sacred of rights. Okay, so we've done it. We have forced the debate into Congress. The president has pointed out that shadow banning is discriminatory, illegal. That is a donation in kind to the Democratic Party when they do it. It's all happening. But the hoax goes like this. Alex Jones is suspended on YouTube from live streaming for bullying and child endangerment, Islamophobia, and transphobia. Then they don't show the videos. They just say it. How Kafkaesque is that in thousands of articles? Then Forbes takes it and says that I beat a kid up, but doesn't say where the town was, what the kid's name was, who the parents, basic journalism. None of that's true. So what I'm saying is media has gone from super fake to ultra fake. Now here's an article. Facebook and YouTube have restricted Alex Jones and InfoWars. Spotify hasn't, and people are upset. So off of that, they want this deplatforming because we just launched on Spotify. We're already raising to the top. We just launched a free app last week. 2 weeks ago, it's already gone to the top 20 now of news apps with hundreds of thousands downloading at Infowars.com/app. People are sharing it. InfoWars founder Alex Jones hit with temporary Facebook suspension, reportedly on the brink of being banned entirely. New York Daily News. Well, New York Daily News just laid off half their employees, so you're being banned by going bankrupt. Continuing. Spotify is hosting, and that's what this is. They're collapsing. They want to claw us into the grave with them. Spotify is hosting Alex Jones InfoWars podcast after YouTube and Facebook bans. The outrage of users. Wow, the users. It's like, I don't like this type of music. Let me go get it banned. And then they lie about what it is. Facebook and YouTube have restricted Alex Jones and InfoWars. Spotify hasn't, and people are upset. Vox, it's the same article, thousands of them a day. Spotify users threaten to quit over InfoWars podcast. Oh, yeah. So this is, they don't have jobs, little SJWs. They just want me taken off. Mark Randazza is one of the top First Amendment lawyers out there. He's representing me in cases we're not getting into here on air. But we got Antifa on the street saying we can't have a demonstration. We've got the left trying to deplatform, getting caught blocking all these Republican shadow bans. I think they're pushing too far into the midterms, and I think they've gone from the ignorant Republicans not knowing what's happening to really getting informed. I think they're really starting to trigger their own downfall. What do you think?
Look, I'm old enough to remember when the left promoted free speech. And when I see this kind of conduct, I say, if people are upset and they want to get rid of you, I got a great way to do that. Just stop listening. Don't watch. I mean, that was our argument back.
But the problem is when we're left alone, we're number one.
Well, that's the thing. They seem to have gone after you because of your effectiveness in drawing out voters for the right. And look, if that's your political persuasion and you're communicating with people, the marketplace of ideas is responding.
Let's be clear. I was never a big Republican booster. I like Trump because he's a populist.
Right. Well, but you got people out to vote for him. And now these people who are freaking out still over the election, they really cannot simply take defeat lying down. I mean, they're not taking it in any way. But if you don't like Alex Jones, then click away. Go read something else. Go listen to something else. Go watch something else. That's easy. This was the argument I have made when I've defended pornography. If you don't like it, don't watch it. When I remember back even.
But the people that bash it the most are the biggest consumers.
Well, that when it comes to pornography, yes. I mean, there's always I don't think there's people who are like closet Alex Jones watchers who are screaming we should shut him down. But yes, in my experience, when I've gone into very conservative communities that have tried to ban pornography shops, ban strip clubs, yeah, those guys at the city council meetings, I will say, are probably some of the biggest perverts you'll ever meet. But that's
just a paradox. Because it's a free will universe. If somebody's an adult and they want to hurt themselves, a lot of this stuff's really bad, really degrading. I personally think porn takes the joy out of life. It has big problems, but at the same time, it's a free country. So yeah.
Right. So why would you take any kind of communication out of the marketplace of ideas?
Yeah, prove it in court, which they're trying to sue me over it, which they can do, but they're acting like with Mueller and the indictments, like the indictment's the proof. Oh, he's been sued. Shut him off.
Right. Well, it just seems to have this, I realize not very many people want to shut you down are watching this, but maybe some of these journalists who are writing about you might be watching this. And are you really so afraid of the ideas you see here that your ideas cannot stand in opposition to them? I mean, that is what, ever since Oliver Wendell Holmes penned this in Abrams versus United States, and he said that is the theory of our Constitution. We allow the marketplace of ideas to determine whether or not we accept that idea or reject it. There is plenty of room for this.
And they aren't succeeding in the market of ideas, so they want to shut the market down.
Well, that's when I get my hackles up. I mean, I don't care if it's somebody I agree with or not. In fact, if it's somebody I disagree with, I'm just as forceful in trying to protect their right to participate in that marketplace. Because without these dissenting voices, without somebody...
Sure, exactly, but they've made the decision... When the left wasn't the power, they were all for the free speech. Now they are the power. They are super Soviet. They want everything. We have all these so-called, well, Jones isn't news. We define him as fake, so we say ban him. Okay, well, it isn't just news that has free speech. Say I'm fake, which I'm not. You create a fake straw man, then say ban me. But they're going after us desperately, and I think it should be the big campaign issue of 2018 and 2020. And by the way, to the horror of Google, Facebook, and Twitter, Trump is about to make it a big campaign issue. So stick that in your you-know-what, because you mess with me, you are about to reap the whirlwind, bitches.
Well, look, I just wish that while people are fighting for free speech, when it's their side that needs it, they remember those fights. I remember when NPR was under attack and conservatives wanted to defund them, despite the fact that we'd made a commitment to NPR being out there, and they tend to be very liberal. I was not happy when I saw the government, when I saw people on the right in the government trying to defund that. I said, you know what? So what? There's plenty of counter speech out there. And now, yeah, the polarity flips, and we've got people who want to shut you down, shut down other voices on the right simply because they don't like the ideas being expressed. Don't watch, don't read. And when I see somebody criticizing speech, I always ask them, well, did you go to the primary source? Did you actually see what this person said? Or are you simply reading a news article about a news article about a news article? And by the time I actually get to the primary source, often what's being reported on is not what
well, that's our strategy coming up with Sandy Hook. We don't want to get into it, but we didn't say and do the things they said. And they're the ones claiming this is hurtful that are republishing a lie I didn't say. And that's what's crazy about this is, as you just said, in literally 10,000 articles plus the last week about me, because they republish them everywhere.
Yeah.
They never show what I said. Isn't that a telltale sign? Jones beat up a kid. He's being banned off the internet. It didn't happen. How outrageous is that?
I find it very journalistically irresponsible. You're a public figure. They cannot even you, they can't defame you by knowingly publishing falsehoods or having a reckless disregard for the truth. But, even that, I wish people would look at journalism and require some level of critical thinking. I mean, I agree, but listen, I've done
no
that
one
job.
else. When Tiger Woods got in trouble, it wasn't this much coverage. I mean, it's every damn. I'm going to ask you when we come back. What do you think they're doing? I mean, I'm not that powerful. It is Alex Jones' obsession. Every local TV station all over the country, national news, every newspaper, Alex Jones, Alex Jones, Alex Jones. I mean, what in the hell is going on? We'll talk to Mark Randazza straight ahead, Infowars.com, Newswars.com, tomorrow's news today. Mark Randazza is our guest, top First Amendment lawyer, also represents me in some cases. Mark, you hear me ranting about this. I don't want to make this gonzo journalism. I've got incredible stories on so many fronts here. Just literally hundreds of them I don't get to that are on Infowars.com and Newswars.com. But one of the top stories in the country for 4 months is ban Alex Jones, then misrepresent what I say and do, and then never show it. And before we went live, I kind of stole your thunder and got into all that. You made the point that when we actually published the videos that YouTube took down, they didn't show what as if they should have took them down for what they claim, but they shouldn't have done that. But it wasn't even what they said.
Sure, because they are trying to silence people that can help get out the vote or get people to start thinking conservative thought. I mean, that's what this war is. And, I would encourage, I know a lot of people are watching and listening, and I would encourage you to understand that these people who want to shut you down, these people want to shut Alex down, to them, this is an obsession. And you need to be obsessed with free speech as well.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Start over. You just said it. It's a religion now.
Right, but you need to have your own religion. Now, luckily, that religion is already there for you.
Like you said, your religion is America. Explain that. Start over. I interrupted. Start over.
It's called the Constitution.
So start over. I interrupted you. Start over.
You need to have your own religious fervor. And I'm not saying to be Alex Jones fans. I'm saying to be fans of freedom of expression, freedom of speech. If you want this principle to survive, I would encourage anybody here, when you see these kinds of stories, don't write unglued crazy things in, but send.
Listen, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you.
Right to Facebook.
I'm going to edit this later, put it out as an ad. Sure. Start over with your preface and how it's a religion and what they're doing. Start over.
Look, the way people are attacking you and attacking other people on the right is with a religious fervor. You need to have your own religious fervor in favor of freedom of expression. And when I say that, I don't mean just when you see it's Alex Jones. When you see anybody that they're trying to eliminate from the marketplace of ideas, do something, say something. When you write into Facebook, heck, write to Facebook and Spotify. These idiots are doing it. You write to them and say, I may not like Alex Jones, or I do like Alex Jones, either way, but I want this marketplace of ideas to be wide open and robust. And I would tell you, when you hear somebody trying to suppress speech that you don't like, do the same thing, because if we can expand the circle of people who believe in freedom of expression and who will stand up for it, America is better. That is the idea of America. That's the principle of our Constitution. There's nothing else. We're nothing else without that. And you've got these people who are screaming to limit liberty, to limit freedom of expression, and asking these monopolistic companies to join in on the fun. Don't let them do that, because you are going to find, if you do like or you don't like Alex Jones, or you do like or you don't like Ann Coulter or anybody else that you might have a problem with, let me tell you, once these companies see that this is okay, that the American people will stand for this kind of censorship based on content, you know what? Something that you like is eventually going to get targeted, and we're going to be corralled into just a narrow area of speech that's good enough for who? That's good enough for just Mark Zuckerberg and just good enough for Jack Dorsey. You're going to have 5 people sitting in the 650 area code deciding what is your marketplace.
And Rupert Murdoch, he's involved in this.
You can't have that. You cannot have a free society like that. So if you're demanding freedom from being offended, you're not living up to the standards of what this country's supposed to be. If you're demanding a marketplace of ideas, and then heck, but demand that people denounce what Alex Jones has to say. I don't have a problem with that. If people were protesting outside here right now, I don't think you'd have a problem with that. And if people were protesting outside out here and the cops tried to stop them, I'd get a conflict waiver from you and ask if I can defend them, and I bet you'd let me. I mean, don't say it on
Exactly. No,
air,
Mark, I would 1,000% do that.
That's how we have to look at freedom of expression. Protect it for people you like, protect it for people you don't like, but make it as important to you as it is to these people who are completely deranged about shutting down speech they don't like. Sit down. If you have not written an email or a letter to Facebook or Spotify or Twitter saying, you know, I'm kind of sick of this and I want to see a robust marketplace of ideas.
I thought I lived in America.
Well, you do, but you know,
But that's what they should say. And then let me ask you this
let's harness
question.
the marketplace of ideas and harness freedom of expression. If there's millions of people listening right now, if 1% of you sent letters or emails to Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, your local press saying, I want a robust marketplace.
Those are even more important than internet
that
comments.
would do something.
Because they're trying to get rid of internet comments because they know those are more popular than the articles. Exactly. Your personal phone call, your contact, your email you send has a huge effect. And this is a war. But going back to this, Mark, because you're a great lawyer, constitutional guy, let me get your take on this. Mark Randazza here in studio with us. Because this is America's fight. They're going for the First Amendment. When they set the precedent to deplatform me, they're going to do it for everybody. They actually admit that, even in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. So this is a big historic thing. You know, the universities suing me with disinfo, as you know. They say they're attempting to change the First Amendment. So what about the issue of they use the First Amendment, and then I'm a public figure, to defame and lie about me, and then they don't want me to be able to respond? That's why that's so fundamental. And it shows how unpowerful they are, that they've got 10,000 plus articles, every major news show lying about me. They won't show the proof of what they said. And so again, I mean, I'm just wondering, how does that mix into this as a legal issue that they're trying to silence me while they lie about me?
Well, look, I mean, you know, the First Amendment cuts both ways. So if they want to mischaracterize what you've said, that still might be protected content under the First Amendment. But there's a way we push back on that. You know, if you look at any one of these articles, and when I've clicked through, I mean, they
never show me saying what they claim.
Well, that's every time somebody comes to me and says, how can you represent that guy after what he said? And they send me an article talking about what you said. And I say, all right, show me him saying that and I'll listen to you.
And you've now spent a lot of hours going to what I actually said. We don't want to get into our defenses here, but is it what they claim?
Look, I have not seen accurate reporting yet on what you've said. You know, anybody who has a hit piece on you, I have not yet seen them back it up.
Colbert hides behind
video.
entertainment, and then he plays clips edited me saying I'm not anti-gay, and the clip is I'm anti-gay. He edits it with and if I wanted to be anti-gay, I'm an American, I can do that. But I wasn't even anti, but they edited it to defame me. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The level of how they've killed journalism, these journalism schools, your alma mater suing me, Georgetown, has turned into an engine of anti-free speech. What do we do about that?
Look, you know, I found Georgetown when I attended there to be not the greatest bastion of protecting freedom of speech. I found a lot of people there that had theories that said that, you know, we need freedom from freedom. I mean, they didn't put it quite that way, but perhaps the First Amendment is a terrible thing because freedom of speech it does not promote the values we want. And I was just horrified because when I got there, I thought I was a liberal, you know, until I got there. And then all of a sudden I start finding myself only hanging out at the Federalist Society meetings because and I still believe in a lot of liberal.
But that's how I've always felt. Like I'm all for people to have their own freedom. I'm a libertarian. How is this new orthodox left the liberals? They're not. We're going to control the words you say, and we're going to everything's bad, and we're going to rename the Austin. And it's like, what kind of cult did I wake up in?
Well, you know, the problem is that you have these people who are that obsessed. This is the most important thing in the world to them. You know, like when I would say defend a strip club in a community and people would come and protest and show up at county commission meetings and say, we need to shut this down. Well, these were people for whom it was the most important thing in the world. The people who occasionally went to the place, they weren't going to come out and protest.
And like you said, they pulled guns on you.
That did happen. Yeah. I mean, the only time I've
So now we've gotten to that point where it's not even real. Like they'll say, oh, there's prostitution in there, and it's not even happening. It's exactly, it becomes this whole, but now the left has become like this weird orthodox, crazy gang.
And, you know, my fear is I see people on the right adopting the same thing again. I mean,
and that's the big problem. Let's talk about how the globalists could win, getting Republicans to adopt the same strategy. All right, Mike Mark Randazzo is a great First Amendment lawyer. He's my lawyer, amongst another great team I've got. He was making some great points about how he's been attacked and persecuted, even personally. He didn't want to get into the stories for representing me. Well, whatever happened to the Sixth Amendment or the First Amendment? I mean, everybody always knew, like Charlie Manson gets a lawyer or Charlie Manson can publish a book. CNN says, no, Jones can't publish a book saying what he actually believes. We're going to tell you what he believes and not let him have a voice. That is so fundamental, Mark.
Look, when I am, I told a journalist who interviewed me and said, they said, where's your line? Because you're not the only controversial client I have. In fact, you don't need a First Amendment lawyer if you're not that controversial. And, some of the people I represent are pretty far on the left. Some are pretty far on the right. And I explained to this journalist, he said, if you have a problem with defending somebody because you have a problem with their speech, then you're not a First Amendment lawyer. You're just doing it wrong. Then you're just joining a team. You're on a side.
Well, what about being a fan of due process?
Yeah,
a right to defense. We're talking Soviet Union or Nazi Germany if people don't have right to a defense.
No, I have people who have come after me for defending you, for defending other controversial figures. And to me, I revel in it. I mean, I love the criticism. Bring it on. I don't feel persecuted by it. I laugh and mock it because I know when I'm pissing people off, I'm doing something right. Because we do not need the First Amendment for children's books. We don't need the First Amendment for Mr. Rogers. But when you look at
we need to stop cults of mental control. When you cults that want to run thought.
Right, when you have controversial speech, and I look at every one of these cases that I do as a speed bump on the way to speech that I want to, that speech that's near and dear to us. And I want that speed bump high. I want that speed bump to wreck anything that drives over it. That's what I want. And, these people who at one point were completely free speech, I remember when communists were the ones getting attacked by, trying to get shut down. There was a time.
And now they're the ones that want to shut down free speech because they're in power.
You look at these.
So they didn't believe in the American experiment. We'll take this. Some of my other lawyers, some of the Texas cases go, listen, if the judges operate according to the Constitution, you're 100% win. They go, we researched everything they said. None of it's true. No, they said it's all edited. It's all BS. They said we've never seen something like this. And that's what I'm saying is I've never seen such an organized. I mean, why do you think there's 10,000 articles the last week saying that I beat up a kid and then don't say where I beat a kid up? I mean, how do you publish an article saying Jones is off YouTube, he beat up a kid, and they don't say where or when?
Yeah, well, that's, there's a decline in the quality of journalism, obviously. I mean, when I was in J school, everybody, for the most part, wanted to be the next Woodward and Byrne.
Because you have a degree in journalism as well, not just
two
law.
of them, actually, yeah. But, I was, we all were kind of pushed towards print. We were pushed towards classic journalism. And then by the time I got to grad school and I saw that most people were going for PR and it was just sort of the old romantics that were still going into print journalism.
They were PR people posing as journalists.
Oh, no, they were people who were genuinely saying, I want to go to J school so that I can learn how to be a PR professional. So that was more what they were geared toward. And I think that you just have a decline in quality in part because of the market. Look, everybody wants to be the first one out. Everyone wants to get the most clicks. And you got to do that by being sensational and fast and, accurate.
But see, I never did stuff on purpose where I've been wrong. I've been wrong some. I found covering things nobody else covered was what was sensational, and it was near and dear to my heart, like the relaunch of America, exposing globalism. I knew they were having CFR and Trilateral and Bilderberg group meetings. They wrote books admitting it, and I was going, hey, look, Rockefeller says in his book he wants a world government to end the family, and they would go, oh, you're crazy, it doesn't exist. I bought the book at Barnes & Noble's. So I've really been doing real journalism.
Look, whatever the narrative you're questioning is, I want people doing that in America. I don't care if, you think of like the people who say the moon landing was faked. I think that's crazy.
By the way, they say I said that and I didn't say that.
Right. Well, it doesn't matter. I want people to ask that question because I want the official
By the way, parts of it were faked because they didn't want to show some of the advanced technology. The military's 30 years ahead. Yeah. So they had support ships, whole deal. And I told people that were at NASA. So there was more there. And then they had Van Allen radiation belt problems getting film back, so they doctored some photos, but we've been at the moon, believe me.
Look, I'm
got nuclear weapons attack bases on it right now.
I mean, maybe we
particle
do,
beams aimed right at the Russians.
But what I really want is I want people like you out there questioning the official narrative, because I do not trust.
I just laid massive secret intel on you.
Look, it's not just, Kennedy said, ask not what you can do for your, what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I say, what the Avengers said, which is, ask what your country's been doing to you. I want people questioning that official narrative.
No, I agree. So let me ask you this. Exactly. They say don't question an official narrative. That's if we've been lied to about Gulf of Tonkin and babies in incubators and WMDs and everything else, why wouldn't we question?
Oh, that's what we should. And look, if you ask the question and ultimately it comes out, boy, that was a dumb question. The moon landing really happened, or there's some people trying to put radio signals into your head and you got to wear tinfoil on your head. These crazy ideas. Those are valuable, even if for no other reason than to make sure that the official narrative has some questioning of it. That's what this. It's
normal. It's normal. Even if I was a schizophrenic and wanted to say that the Sandy Hook parents were 14-foot tall giraffes from Pluto that that worshipped Easter bunnies. I'm not saying that. They'll probably sue me for that. But I mean, that's my right to say it exactly.
It's not just your right. It's your responsibility.
To say they're giant giraffes.
It's your responsibility to question the official narrative.
Let me ask you this. You're a smart guy. Extrapolating just in a thin slicing gestalt. Where do you think this ends with this war on free speech in Europe and here and Hollywood's craziness and their attempts at all this stuff? I mean, where does it go? Because the bullying isn't intimidating everybody I know. It's actually making them get politically involved.
Right. Well, hopefully that's what happens. I'm not, I might be a smart guy. I'm not smart enough to say where it does end, but I do see multiple, possible outcomes. One outcome could be that people start to realize that attacks on free speech aren't going to benefit anybody, even if you like the silent, even if you want to squelch a certain voice, that's not good for you as an American if that voice gets squelched. I mean, the best, I remember seeing years ago, before we, not that many years ago, but before it was okay to go ahead and engage in political violence, I saw a video of a Nazi rally, and it was the greatest protest against a Nazi rally I'd ever seen, because this kid was walking behind these guys playing dress-up Nazis, playing the tuba. And it was just this boom, boom, boom sound behind them. And it made them from dress-up Nazis into comical clowns. And what a great way to discredit them with additional speech. Just that little tuba.
Exactly. So you don't shut down their speech.
And then, but then 6 months later, I saw a similar march, similar idiots out there, and then they just got attacked, and they were getting hit with bricks.
And that made them the victim, like Gandhi.
And then I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I'm saying, my God, I'm so mad at these people attacking them. And funny enough, in that video, I remember the one guy saved another guy's life. And it was actually a Jewish guy who dove on top of one of these guys and said, stop hitting him. And it was when I saw that and I said, now here I am sympathizing with these Nazis simply because they are having the crap beaten out of them. And all you got to do is stand there and point and laugh. If you don't like somebody's speech, if somebody's speech is...
Listen, I know you're trying... Here's the deal. I know you're... Mark. You keep trying to sell people on America and free speech, and that's great to a jury. The big corporate media, they put out a press release, put out by Soros or the Democratic Party, and then 1,000 publications a day parrot it.
Yeah, well,
these are mercenaries. They don't even have any compunction about being a journalist. They know they're not. They're in an organized corporate conspiracy, because mainstream media is dying, to demonize their opposition, shut it down. And I'm not as important as they say. Yeah, we got a big show. We didn't reach 86 million people the week of the election. That really made them get scared. We still reach 15, 20 million people a week, even with all the suppression. They're trying to end the First Amendment. It's in the cases. It's a program. And if Congress and the president and the people don't meet it as such and say, no, you're not going to do that, we know what you're doing, instead of arguing. I saw it during the break. Facebook's getting ready to roll out new systems along with Twitter to battle Russian bots in 2018. 80% of the Russian bots, were a very small amount of the bots, were pro-Hillary. You could go to foreign countries and hire PR firms. So now censoring me, they're banning Republican congressmen from advertising on Facebook saying you're a Russian. It's this new, it's a witch hunt, man.
Look, if I can sell to your listeners and your viewers to get involved, to start, look, these companies react to capitalist forces. Well, send them letters. You want to cancel your Spotify
Everyone go to
account?
Spotify and click on the Alex Jones podcast.
Yeah.
And let them know you want it. And everybody go to InfoWarsStore.com.
And send emails to Spotify saying, look.
Yeah, it's a war, and we need you in it right now, or we could lose it. Mark Rundaz is our guest. We'll be right back, and then Paul Joseph Watson takes over from London. Folks, our military is not perfect, and Trump's not perfect, and I'm not perfect. But, China is run by communist dictatorship. They don't have real elections, and they're trying to suppress the country. They own Hollywood. They're actually trying to get Apple, Facebook, Twitter to censor to be able to come into China. And so these big tech companies are kind of like hookers out on the street showing their leg to China saying, look, we censored these Americans, let us in. It's really pathetic. And so I want to tell the left this. 10 years ago, I thought about retiring because I got a family ranch and all this other stuff, and I knew this was going to get more serious, but you tried to shut me down, so I kept going. So all your attacks guarantee that I'm going to work 18 hours a day instead of 14 hours a day, and I'm never going to quit and surrender because I know you're not just trying to abuse me, you're trying to abuse everybody, and we're going to stand against you. But, I mean, look, you can see America coming back, Mark, and you've had the courage, you know, point that out. You didn't vote for Trump, but you may vote for him now, seeing what's happening, and just the level of hate by the special interest. In closing, where do you see this going, and how do we fight back against this?
Look, where I see it going, I'm going to be I'm going to be optimistic about it. Where I see it going is people waking up to the fact that any challenge to free speech is an attack on all of us, even if it's somebody attacking the free speech of somebody that you hate. That's what the First Amendment is there for. It's freedom for the thought that you hate. So if you see thoughts that you like getting attacked, you've got to get involved. You can't just sit there and say, isn't this terrible? You can't just sit there and put comments, crazy comments underneath the news article.
Well, actually, most people kind of go, oh, yeah, Alex Jones is kind of bad, but don't ban him, kind of like Ted Cruz did, or Tucker Carlson defended me full-throated. I mean, you have to understand, this is all a misrepresentation, a beta test for everybody. Well,
that's how I see it. First they started banning people. First it was ban Nazis. Then it was ban people a little to the left of Nazis. Then it was just start banning conservatives. And that is, that's really terrifying. And if these companies can do this unchecked, you've got to get involved in this. You've got to write to your
Shouldn't they be concerned that Trump's pointing out it's illegal, it's racketeering, it's campaign contributions to the Democrats to block? They're blocking Republican congressmen and women from even showing campaign ads. But they let they just hired this former Obama official to run censorship at Facebook, and that's crazy.
It wouldn't matter so much if these companies weren't so monopolistic. What we really... I
don't care who runs them as long as they let me have my free speech.
Look, if anybody from the DOJ's antitrust division is listening, can you show up at work one of these days, please? Because you do have a job to do.
Explain as a lawyer what you see them doing that's a trust.
Look, when you have such market share and then you use that in a way to exclude other people from entering that market, that's an antitrust problem.
That's 101.
Right. It's easy. I don't even do
That's like the Nazis putting people in ghettos.
That's a little,
that's what Drudge called it, electronic ghettos.
Yeah, I'm not really going to break Godwin's law here, but I'll just say that it is a monopolistic problem.
It's the beginning of putting people in ghettos.
It is
when you restrict people from the marketplace of ideas and monopolies.
Well, then what it is it's more of a stranglehold on information. That is the hallmark of any dictatorship. Now, we're just more elegant in the United States. I tell people when I lecture in Europe, I say, look, we don't really have corruption. We call it campaign contributions. So it's, we don't stick the envelope, we don't do the little bustarella where we hand the envelope underneath the table like they do in Italy. But we give a check and we take a picture of ourselves next to the candidate with a big smile.
We do it out in the open.
Sorry?
They do it out in the open.
Sure, we do it out in the open because we've got an elegance here. So instead of our government going and saying, we're going to restrict everything somebody has to say, we now privatize it. We say, okay, you know what? Facebook, you can have 90%, 95% market share. We're not going to break you up. And then when Facebook starts to engage in censorship, I start to ask myself, why are we letting them get away with it? Yeah, we've really got to look at what free speech means. And
this will kill America,
right.
and foreign powers are involved like China. It's a national security issue, clear and present danger. Randazza Group, randazza.com. We'll talk to you very soon. Got an important meeting after this. Paul Watson's coming up. Stay with us. You know, Paul Watson is a cool character. He's not trying to act cool. He's just a restrained guy, smart guy. And I'm flamboyant because the truth is pretty explosive. But let me tell you something. I'm not as important as they're saying on the news. Every local TV station across the country is running packages saying Jones beat up a kid. He's being taken off the internet. They never say where I beat the kid up. That jump to say things like that are totally untrue, it's beyond saying Saddam's got nuclear weapons and he didn't. Or Colin Powell holding up the anthrax. So they're making their move. And all I can tell you is Infowars.com and Newswars.com and PrisonPlanet.com is just there promoting Americana and Renaissance and freedom. And when you go there, you'll see the Spanish police warn 50,000 invaders waiting in Morocco to take over. Soros is funding, of course, Cortez, the communist. I mean, it's all there. The free app, Infowars.com/app, the new official app that works so great, gives you push notifications when we're going live during special events, news feeds, Infowars.com/app. I know you've been in the fight forever, kind of like I have been, so you kind of just get used to the attacks, used to the censorship. If you get frosty and you really spread the word, people are ready to hear, hey, why don't you download the free Infowars app? I'll send you a link to it, Infowars.com/app. Why don't you hear why... I say 10,000. That was like a week ago. It's got to be 20,000. I mean, because they took one fake article that was put in the Statesman, and I know they republished it in over 1,000 publications. Chicago Tribune, Honolulu Advertiser, Baltimore Sun. I mean, I can't even keep track anymore. And I'm not, see, I don't think of myself as myself because I am the most selfish, greedy person you've ever met. Seriously. I think I'm connected to all of you and my children. And I'm connected to the human experience. So I see myself as all of you and you as me. But then I'm an individual trying to manifest that, the opposite of their fake collectivism. So I don't care about my personal life or my treasure. I actually care about the big win against these people. And they don't know how to deal with that, you see. So they're really upset. So I'm going to hand this over to Paul Watson right now. So much is going on. This is ahead of 2018. This is only 2.5 months out. This is ahead of whatever they're going to pull. They want everybody silenced. They want the president to silence us, and they're making their move right now. Just briefly, if you want to support us and make sure we can defeat the globalist, InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, 888-253-3139. I mean, we've got the best vitamin D3. We've got the best vitamin B12. We've got the best air purification systems that are $400 less and are just as good as leading competitors. You know, there's a model where you do fancy advertising and you triple or quadruple charge somebody. I don't do that. I make, at the sales price, $40 off this, and the maker makes like $35. Leading competitors are $500, $600. We normally sell it at $250. It's a great deal. Alexa Pure Breeze for you and your family. It's so amazing. 4 filters, HIPAA, ion, $149.95. You should get it right now. Everybody should get it. We've got the fish oil, the krill oil, the honor roll for your kids. It's got all the known oils for the brain. 40% off if you get them all 3 together. 25% off if you get them individually, and you sign up for auto ship. Additional 10% off, making a lost leader. Free shipping on all orders, $50 or more. Whatever you do, history's happening now. I want to thank you all who've been in the fight. I want to encourage those of you that haven't to get in the fight. But how this works is Jones has been sued for saying, you know, nobody died here or there, made up lies. Out of context. Then, Jones was taken off YouTube, which I wasn't. They put a fake strike on. They removed the last fake strikes months ago because he said that, you know, he beat up a kid. Again, the level of the unified, organized discipline of corporate media to all lie together and all sing from one page of music shows you that the universities have bred an entire class of people that are free speech and America killers. So, Paul, you've got a big 45 minutes coming up here, or 50 minutes. So go ahead and take over, my friend. God bless you.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Yeah, we're talking about fake news. Let's get into this from the off. CNN routinely puts out the most harmful fake news imaginable, which actually leads to persecution, oppression, torture, imprisonment, and loss of lives. This is what we need to talk about right now. Two different examples of that today. We'll start off with the revelation about the Manchester bomber Salman Abedi. Now, of course, he killed 22 people in the Manchester Arena bombing last year, half of whom were children. Now it emerges that the British Royal Navy rescued him from Libya in August 2014 after NATO had destabilized that country, brought him back to the UK. Just 3 years later, less than 3 years later, he committed that carnage. How does this relate to CNN? Well, it goes back to the fact that they push the most harmful, bloody, blood-curdling, end-of-life making fake news every single time. This happened that you can draw a direct line between him being rescued by the Royal Navy, having had NATO destabilize the country. Remember, Obama, Cameron, and Hillary Clinton went in to support Al-Qaeda, the LIFG, knowing that they were jihadists because they wanted to topple Gaddafi because he'd stopped playing ball. So that destabilization campaign led to the fall of Libya, led to the migrant crisis, led to the terror attacks in Europe, led to the explosion in violent crime and sexual assaults in Europe. And who, right at the very beginning, was pushing the propaganda to justify, to legitimize that NATO destabilization of Libya in 2011? It was CNN. This is a specific example. I'm not just talking about general propaganda about how it was, a humanitarian intervention, which was the narrative we heard over and over at the time from the entirety of the mainstream media. I'm talking about a specific example. CNN headline from 2011. This is March 21st, 2011. Why Libya 2011 is not Iraq 2003. Written by not just some commentator that CNN has given a platform, but by Peter Bergen, CNN's chief national security analyst. This is the top guy at CNN. And he said, basically, he made the argument. I'm not going to read the whole article. You can read it for yourself. His argument was that this was not like Iraq in 2003, that it wouldn't lead to a wider destabilization, that it wouldn't cause nearly as many problems. And you could argue that it caused even more problems than the invasion of Iraq in 2003, because while obviously that cost more lives, in the long run, Libya really created the migrant crisis, which could end up costing more lives in terms of both attacks, in terms of both migrants drowning in the sea, than people who died during the invasion of Iraq. Not only can you make that argument, you can make the argument that it led directly to the rise of ISIS, which it did in many cases. So this is CNN's top national security analyst in 2011, before the invasion of Libya, soft peddling it, justifying it, legitimizing it by lying and saying that it wouldn't be like Iraq in 2003, when InfoWars at the time was warning everyone that that's exactly what it would be like. Don't forget, we also opposed the intervention of Syria because we said we were supporting Al-Qaeda jihadists, something that was borne out to be completely correct too. The guy who the Royal Navy rescued from Libya as a result of the NATO intervention, which came about as a result of CNN legitimizing, endorsing this invasion, he went on to attack the Manchester Arena, killing children, ripping them limb from limb, 22 dead. What was it? Over 130 wounded, life-changing injuries, traumatized for life. And again, you can draw it all back to the NATO-sponsored, CNN-endorsed destabilization of Libya. We supported Al-Qaeda when they were literally putting black people in concentration camps in Libya. Gaddafi warned us about it. He said there would be 500,000 migrants heading to Europe. That's exactly what's happened. He was right. He was a brutal dictator, but he was right. We were right. CNN was wrong. Their harmful fake news led directly to that situation, and it needs to be called out right now. This is the Alex Jones Show, 4th hour, Infowars.com. We'll be back. We are back. It is the 4th hour live of the Alex Jones Show. I talk about the most harmful brand of fake news, which routinely comes from CNN. And I was just making the point before the break. The invasion of Libya, which led to the migrant crisis, which led to the mass sexual assaults, the explosion in violent crime, which led to the Manchester bombing that killed 22 people, half of them children. Who was pushing for that invasion? Who was endorsing that invasion? Who was legitimizing that invasion? Who was saying, oh, don't worry, it's not going to be anything like Iraq? Turns out it was completely the same as Iraq. It destabilized the entire region, led to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of displaced people. And once again, we were supporting basically the extremist side in the conflict. Yes, Saddam Hussein was a dictator. Yes, Colonel Gaddafi was a dictator. But again, in the case of Libya, directly supporting groups which were directly affiliated, I'm talking about the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, with Al-Qaeda, with Islamic jihadists. Who was soft-soaping it? Who was justifying it? It was CNN. It was their chief national security analyst, Peter Bergen, back in March 2011 saying, don't worry, everyone, it's going to be nothing like Iraq. Who was saying the opposite? Who was saying no? Yet another intervention in the Middle East or North Africa is going to be an absolute disaster. Gaddafi's warned us. In fact, let's throw up one of these headlines right now. ISIS threatens to send 500,000 migrants to Europe as a psychological weapon in chilling echo of Gaddafi's prophecy that the Mediterranean will become a sea of chaos. Now, he said this before the invasion. Let's look at another headline out of The Guardian. Gaddafi warned Blair his ousting would open door to jihadis. Transcript of 2011 call revealed Libyan dictator predicted extremists would use his departure to start war in Mediterranean. So he was warning us. Infowars.com was warning everyone, don't set sail on another ridiculous, absurd, dangerous invasion of a foreign country, which destabilized the region and led to exactly what we predicted it would lead to. We're not just talking about the attack on Manchester. There's also been numerous other attacks in Europe. The Paris massacre, they exploited the migrant wave, the refugee wave in that instance to fake their passports and get through border controls. So it all happened exactly as we said it would happen. CNN said, don't worry, everybody, it's going to be fine. Who was putting out the fake news then, CNN? Who puts out the most harmful fake news on a routine basis? Let's look at another example right now. This is up on Infowars.com. CNN slammed for championing hijab-wearing Barbie. Yes, the hijab-wearing Barbie is back again. Fake news network CNN promoted a piece championing toy maker Mattel's new hijab-wearing Barbie doll Monday. It did not go down well with Americans. The doll, which was first seen last year, is now in stores as part of Mattel's Shiro line of toys. Yeah, I'll tell you who the real Shiros are. The women who go to jail, the women who are tortured in prison in Iran, in Indonesia, in these other Muslim countries for removing the veil. They're the real Shiros, CNN. Yet CNN reveled in promoting the toy, calling it a broader effort by Mattel to diversify the Barbie line. And they also published a written article by Olympic fencer Ibhaj Mohammed, who is Linda Sarsour in a leotard, the Olympic athlete, in which she talked about how great the doll was, how great the hijab is, slammed the Trump administration. So CNN gave a platform to this individual to tell everyone how great the hijab is. Again, this is CNN pushing actual harmful fake news, which puts women at risk of torture and imprisonment. If they're creating a narrative that the hijab is a symbol of women's empowerment, which it isn't, that is fake news. That is putting people at actual risk. People in Iran, in fact, there was an article, Iranian anti-hijab female protester jailed for 2 years. A brave anti-hijab activist in Iran who protested against the mandatory wearing of the Islamic headscarf has been sentenced to 2 years in prison. That was earlier this year. No, CNN says it's great, everybody should wear it. And again, I've done videos about this. The very first Arab feminist group from over 100 years ago, the Egyptian Feminist Union, this was an Arab feminist group in Egypt. They made removing the veil the symbol of their entire campaign. They wanted to get female university education. It was banned at the time. They were ultimately successful decades later, but at the very inception of their movement, they made removing the veil the symbol of women's empowerment. Wearing the veil is not a symbol of women's empowerment, CNN. This is actually harmful, this crap that you're putting out on a regular basis. Let's look at what a Muslim reformist said about this. Let's pull up this article. This is out of the New York Times. They actually gave someone a platform to make a common sense argument. Wearing the hijab in solidarity perpetuates oppression, by Azra Namani, a Muslim reformist. She said, quote, "The purity culture covers, segregates, subordinates, silences, jails, and kills women and girls around the world." She gives several examples. In India, a father killed his daughter, 4 years old, smashing her head against the floor when her scarf slipped from her head during dinner. In Ontario, a few years ago, a man strangled his 16-year-old sister when she defied their father. In November, this is a couple of years ago now, a former University of Missouri instructor dragged a female relative, 14 years old, out of school by the hair when he discovered she hadn't covered her hair. So again, people in Iran are going to prison for this. Young girls as young as 4 years old are being killed for not wearing the hijab, for accidentally letting it slip from their head. Oh, but CNN says it's a symbol of women's empowerment. No, it isn't. That's fake news. Listen to actual Muslims risking their lives on the streets to protest against this. Watch videos of the Sharia police in Indonesia patrolling the streets, whipping women who don't have their headscarf just right. Okay, that's the reality of the hijab, CNN. Look at ISIS-controlled areas in Syria. As soon as the ISIS fighters, the jihadist militants, are kicked out of the area, they film the women. What do the women do? Remove their hijabs, burn them, scream and holler in celebration. Okay, this is all in the videos I made about the hijab. Go on my YouTube channel, search hijab. It's all there. You can watch it all for yourselves. So this is not a symbol of feminism, CNN. This is not a symbol of women's empowerment. In Sweden, in these migrant-dominated areas, some shops are now refusing service to women who don't wear hijabs, okay? It's not a symbol of female empowerment, yet CNN gives a platform to Linda Sarsour and a leotard, this Olympic athlete, to say how great it is. And who created the first hijab Barbie? It was some left-wing feminist, I think in Seattle or Portland, that then got media attention for it. So it's the media attention that normalizes this that led to Mattel creating it in the interests of diversity. No, it's the ultimate patriarchal, not just symbol. It's a tool of oppression. It's used to oppress women across the Middle East, across North Africa. And CNN saying that it's a symbol of women's empowerment, giving people platforms to promote it as normal and something to be encouraged, that is fake news. That is harmful. You're disgracing the brave actions of all these women throughout Iran, throughout these other countries, risking their freedom, their livelihood, in many cases their lives, to stand up and say, no, this isn't women's empowerment. This is a tool of oppression. We're real feminists. We're standing against it in the face of CNN's fake news. We're back. Here's the fourth hour of the Alex Jones Show. Before we get back into the news, I want to tell you about some of the great specials at InfoWarsStore.com, because the level of butthurt that gets triggered when you buy these products is just completely off the charts. It's just unmentionable, unmeasurable, the amount of butthurt that CNN experiences when you buy these products, because they can't get to us with the ad boycotts. They've tried. They can't do it. Because, again, we're only dependent on you getting the products. We're not dependent on outside advertisers. So we have Secret 12 at 40% off at InfoWarsStore.com right now. It's time to feel the power of one of the most popular formulas available from InfoWars Life with Secret 12 at 40% off. It is an advanced vitamin B12 proprietary formula that brings you all the power of vitamin B12 without the fillers found in similar products. This is pure stuff. It uses specifically chosen forms of vitamin B12 to bring you the best bioactive characteristics. Secret 12 can help encourage normal energy levels in a pure and advanced formula for less. It is available right now at 40% off at InfoWarsStore.com, where we also have the Beat the Heat special. Get the vitamins you need with 40% off Winter Sun. As the temperatures rise into the triple digits, we may find ourselves taking shelter in the AC. While it provides some comfort, that also means we're missing out on the essential sunshine and vitamins we need daily. And we've got Winter Sun right now to give you, your body, the vitamin D it needs at 40% off without the uncomfortable sunburn. It is created with powerful, nutrient-dense lichen oil. It's the easiest way to bring the power of the sun into your home. And everyone needs their vitamin D. It's 40% off right now. Again, you're going to buy these products anyway. It's very highly concentrated. Look at those reviews. 693 reviews. We got a 4.9 on that. You don't even get that on Amazon. 98% of respondents would recommend this to a friend. They're all independent third-party reviews from people who've got the product, loved it, reordered it, will definitely buy again and again. You can see this, love this stuff. They're all independent reviews from our great supporters who have got this product. Again, you should be taking this stuff anyway. So why not get it from us? Why not get it from us with a massive 40% discount? And why not enjoy the butthurt, the sheer relentless butthurt that causes CNN by getting Winter Sun for 40% off at InfoWarsStore.com. Please support this network today. I'm going to get into more of the migrant stuff in the next segment because, of course, Spain has become the epicenter of that. We see the videos coming out of Spain, the boats invading the beach. Alex has talked about it today. There's new news on that, which I'm going to get into. But let's talk about Twitter, because obviously today we had a story up on Infowars.com. Twitter suspends GOP Senate candidate for defending himself against Russian agent claims. This was Austin Peterson, the candidate in the Republican Party's primary for U.S. Senate race in Missouri. He got into an exchange with basically a blue-tick leftist called Caroline O, who didn't even dare to give her full name, of Share Blue Media, or Sharia Blue Media, as some people call it. So basically, she got triggered by Peterson tweeting, quote, "Our campaign accepts Bitcoin contributions." Then she went on a rant about how accepting Bitcoin must mean that you're a Russian agent because all these people are fevered hysterics and they think literally everything is Russian bots. She said, "Interesting timing here. Russian hackers targeted Claire McCaskill in August 2017. The next month, one of her GOP opponents in Missouri rolled out this new ad." It wasn't even an ad. It was just asking for Bitcoin donations. So Peterson responded by tweeting a GIF image, which was within Twitter's own GIF selection. He didn't even pull it from the internet or create it, of Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin with the words, "Off to the Gulag," which is obviously a satirical joke based around the premise that if he was in with the Russians, he would have the power to send her off to the Gulag. It's a joke. I'm sorry, you can only make jokes on Twitter if you're talking about molesting children like James Gunn. Then it's acceptable. Then everyone rallies to your defense. You make a political joke based on something that happened, nearly 100 years ago. No, banned. 12 hours suspension because the tweet was mass reported. So he had to log in, delete the tweet. He was still suspended for 12 hours at the key critical moment of this primary race. So this is Twitter, and this is what he accused them of. He accused Twitter and Democratic-aligned super PACs of interfering with the federal Senate race in Missouri by temporarily blocking, these are his words, my account due to a picture I shared which was located within Twitter's own GIF file collection. So he was suspended at a critical moment simply because a satirical political joke based around Stalin's gulags was mass reported by hysterical far leftists, and he was gone for 12 hours during that critical juncture. So is that Twitter interfering in an election? Everybody has hysterical fever dreams about Russian bots interfering with everything on Twitter, even though there's no evidence to back it up that they're having any kind of massive impact. Twitter interferes. Nobody says a word. You can only joke about molesting children on Twitter. That's fine. So long as you're left-wing, that's completely fine. Oh, the other thing as well on this, misogyny. We always hear on Twitter about, the scourge, the plague of hateful misogyny from the right wing against women. Well, here's a headline. Neutral platform Twitter shrugs as verified account calls Melania Trump hoe-bag hooker. Oh, so it's okay to be hateful and misogynistic towards women so long as the target is a conservative or is the wife of Donald Trump. Then it's fine. Again, it's okay when we do it. That's their whole mantra. It's okay when we do it. They'll point the finger all day long at anyone for criticizing a woman. I mean, you criticize a feminist on Twitter, the white knights come running and accuse you of misogyny. for humiliating her for her dumb opinion. But this guy, Mark Roberts, the congressional candidate in Oregon, suggested Monday that First Lady Melania Trump is a sex worker. Remember what they said about Barron Trump, the actor Peter Fonda? Again, openly encouraging, inciting him to be molested. That's fine. Wasn't even a joke. That's fine. He calls Melania Trump a sex worker. The post went mega viral on Twitter. The Silicon Valley company's inaction provides a clear view of how its hate speech rules are selectively enforced only against conservatives and populists. And again, to be clear, there you see Peter Fonda from about a month back with his paedophile tweets. Nothing happened to him. Openly encouraging people to go to schools where ICE agents have kids and harass the kids. Okay, you can call for the harassment of children on Twitter. You can call for the molestation of children on Twitter. If you're a blue tick leftist, nothing happens. Nothing happened to his account. Didn't even get suspended. If you tweet a GIF joke based on Joseph Stalin at the height of a key Senate race, suspended for 12 hours. And he's probably lucky he hasn't been banned by now. This is the double standard that pisses people off. So this guy, Mark Roberts, basically called Melania Trump a prostitute. Nobody cares. Nothing happened to him. But God forbid you challenge the opinion of Amy Schumer or Chelsea Handler. You're an evil misogynist. And of course, this is what we've covered before. Who's running the new hate speech system, which Twitter seeks to introduce? It's a hysterical far leftist who's tweeted numerous times about how she hates Donald Trump. A woman called Dr. Rebecca Trumbull. I went through her previous tweets last night. She literally wore a pussy hat and attended the Women's March. This is the woman who now decides what the algorithm for Twitter denotes as hate speech. Gee, what could possibly go wrong? Absolutely incredible. Meanwhile, BuzzFeed, and this is she was hired because Twitter said they had a problem with hate speech. BuzzFeed comes out with an article and says, oh, conservatives aren't being shadow banned. No, it's only content which, quote, distracts from the conversation that's being shadow banned. Okay, so who decides what distracts from the conversation? Oh, this far left, pussy hat wearing, Women's March attending, anti-Trump, hysterical academic. Oh, that's fine. That seems very neutral, very impartial, doesn't it? Of course, the truth is that term, distracting from the conversation, is completely subjective. So that's why it is shadow banning. Absolutely incredible. We'll be back. It's the Alex Jones Show Live. Don't go away. We're back. It is the final segment of the fourth hour of the Alex Jones Show. Big story up on Infowars.com right now. Spanish police warn 50,000 migrants waiting in Morocco to invade Spain. And if you've seen the video of these migrants, we've posted numerous examples of it. Not many women and children there, are there? Not many. Police sources are warning that 50,000 illegal migrants from sub-Saharan Africa are waiting in Morocco to invade Spain. Now, this is because they've made deals with the people smugglers. The people smugglers are promising them that Spain is their paradise, and they're all bottlenecked up in Morocco waiting to cross into Spain because basically Spain just got a new socialist government which gave them the green light to do so, despite all the problems for the past 3 years that this has caused Europe. According to a report in Spanish newspaper El Mundo, North Africa is becoming a pressure cooker, with at least 50,000 African migrants desperate to cross into the European country via the Strait of Gibraltar. They're saying it's 50,000 right now. That number continues to grow. These men are becoming more violent in their efforts to reach Europe. And remember, so far in 2018, these are the official figures, 21,000 arrivals so far in Spain. That's quickened since the socialist government gave them the green light. But again, these numbers are wrong. These numbers are way lower than the actual figure because the countries are disincentivized from registering migrants. When the migrants arrive in these different European countries, there's no incentive to register them because if EU countries want to deport them under EU law, they have to deport them to the very first EU member state they arrived in. So, of course, these EU member states don't want all the different migrants being sent back to their country because some of them have finally realized that you actually need border controls to have a country. So they're not registering them. So these migrants are completely unregistered. They're roaming around. The 21,000 figure is minimal. It's probably double that, at least, I would imagine. As Breitbart reported, the Dutch government has suggested that some 2/3 of illegal migrants who reach them have not previously been registered. So it could be as much as 3 times that number, suggesting the true migration figures could be far higher. Now, of course, last week we had 800 sub-Saharan migrants trying to cross the border between Morocco and the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, throwing feces, burning quicklime, stones, and Molotov cocktails at police. Yes, they're actually throwing crap at police, using saws, using homemade flamethrowers to try to get through these flimsy barriers. 600 of them succeeded in crossing the border. We posted the video of that last week. They're screaming wildly. They're running down the streets. Complete and absolute chaos and bedlam. And it's going to happen over and over again. Not just the beach arrivals, but now 50,000 illegal migrants bottlenecked between Morocco and Spain waiting to arrive. And that's just through that one entry port alone. That's the other entry port. You see the sea route, where they just get on dinghies and get ashore because the criminal people smugglers are conspiring with the NGOs to have them rescued off the coast of Libya. These people are not rescued near Spain, near Italy. They're not drowning, although Italy has halved the drowning deaths. So again, Italy institutes strong border controls to protect their country, to protect their culture. It results in migrant drowning deaths being halved. Meanwhile, Spain incentivizes the migrants to make that dangerous journey, which you just saw on the dinghy boat there. More migrants are going to die, okay? The real humanitarian option is to have actual borders because it disincentivizes them from coming in the first place. The people smugglers go out of business, and the brain drain of all these people leaving these African countries is, at least stemmed to a certain extent. So the true humanitarian policy is to have strong borders. But still, there are an entire army of left-wing idiots who don't know any of this. They just think, oh, I have a heart, I'm a liberal. Of course we should support refugees. It's women and children drowning in the sea. No, it isn't. The vast majority are fighting-age men, as you can see in all the videos. German students empty water bottles on their heads in protest against drowning refugees. Again, the height of absolute idiocy. Students of the Munich Movie School held a protest against their state's migration policy, even though Germany's already let in 2 million. No, not enough. Mass assaults, mass sexual assaults at Cologne. People trying to blow themselves up at music festivals. No, not enough. People barreling in trucks through Christmas markets in Berlin. Not enough. We want more. We want more. Pathological altruism every single time. During a visit of the Bavarian Prime Minister to the school, the students emptied bottles onto their heads to draw attention to the situation of refugees in the Mediterranean. And as you see here, it looks like complete absolute idiocy from like 14-year-old kids who don't know anything about the situation, anything about the specifics. The Italian government has literally stopped over 1,000 migrants drowning from having strong border controls. So if these kids get what they want, they will ensure that more migrants drown. Okay, so their protest is going to achieve the exact opposite of what it is supposed to achieve. You frigging morons. Daily Mail reports 4 French police officers are seriously injured during a savage ambush by drunk UK-bound migrants in Calais. There's still hundreds of people in Calais. Macron raised the migrant camp. It did nothing. They just came back, or they went to other areas of France. It's a total mess. His approval rating is the lowest ever. 4 French police officers have been seriously injured during a savage ambush by drunken UK-bound migrants in Calais. 1, an officer in a CRS riot control unit, was particularly badly hurt after being hit repeatedly around the head with a large stone. There's a picture of the stone. It's as big as the man's hand. Here you see footage out of Calais where it looks like a literal zombie attack in the night, where they're just roaming around, trees as roadblocks, branches as roadblocks. They set things on fire to try and hijack these vans. In some cases, the vans are being driven by women. They're threatened with rape. This is the situation in Calais right now, and we just had another attack on police officers. But forget about that. Let's all just pour bottles of water over our heads because we're liberal. Doesn't matter about the fact that people are being raped, people being assaulted on the streets of Sweden, Germany, the Netherlands, everywhere you go. No, we need more. We need more because it's pathological altruism. Spain denies mass migration, says Europe needs new blood. Again, it's not enough. So again, this is the Spanish foreign minister claiming that, oh, it's only 21,000 migrants so far. Well, we've already proven that that's not true. It's probably 60,000 in the first 7 months of 2018 alone. And he's saying we need new blood because the population's dying off. We need workers. We need people to fund the pension obligations, even though in virtually every example provided, migrants go on welfare. In Sweden, it's 58% of welfare recipients are migrants. Okay, they don't get jobs. They don't fund the system. They suck off the system. That's not what's going on. People are literally being replaced. And fine, if you're going to have a decline of population, you can manage a decline of population, or you can incentivize your population to have babies. Spain has just spent 30 million euros, and that's going to rise, on a plan to deal with all these migrants that are literally throwing crap at border police using flamethrowers. They're literally catering to them, spending 30 million euros. Meanwhile, they've still got an unemployment rate of 15% plus. They've got a youth unemployment rate of 33% plus, and yet they're still spending money on this pathological altruism. Absolute insanity. Italian boat returning migrants to Libya may have broken law, UN agency says. So the UN has ignored people smugglers working with NGOs who have actually broken the law for the past 3 years by picking these migrants up from Libya as a taxi service, bringing them to Europe. Then half of them just disappear. They're not even registered. They've broken the law. They did nothing about that. They said nothing about that. Oh, but now Italy, because it actually has border controls now, thank God for Salvini, picks these migrants up, saves their lives, returns them to Libya, with not being thanked, by the way. We had a story a couple of weeks ago where they saved these migrants from a dinghy, and then the migrants threatened to kill the people who saved them on the boat because they knew they were being sent back to Libya. That's breaking the law, says the UN, actually coordinating with criminal people smugglers who have incentivized the drowning of thousands of people through these Soros-backed NGOs. That's perfectly fine. Absolutely incredible situation. That's going to wrap it up for the show. War Room with Owen Schroyer is coming up. Breaking news at Infowars.com. Don't go away.
We're breaking the conditioning!
Infowars comes to mind.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
There's a lot of controversy around this network about Alex Jones.
Google is being accused of hiding negative stories about Hillary and her campaign by changing its algorithm to bury stories like the Clinton body count story. That's according to website Infowars.
It sounds like it's confirmed there are at least 2 shooters with fully automatic weapons.
Dr. Martin Luther King has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
JFK was shot from the back and the front.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
They took the babies out of the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work, operating in areas that we can't control.
UFOs.
Is this global governance at last? Is it one world, the central bankers in charge?
Israel claims the attack was accidental, but some former U.S. naval officers say it was on purpose. They describe the day's action as part of a continuing cover-up.
Russian intelligence compiled a dossier on Mr. Trump during visits to Moscow.
Russian scum!
Denied everything. He called it all fake news.
And he accused CNN of being fake news.
This is a national emergency.
If they kill Trump or remove Trump, it will cause a massive civil war in this country.
This is a FEMA high-level alert.
We are at war with Russia.
Are you aware that Mr. Stone also stated publicly that he was in direct communication with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks?
The White House and the President are citing Infowars.
They could shut us down. You're next.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
You know, President Trump talks about how we need to be trailblazers, how we need to be outsiders, how we need to expose the current stagnant system that's been suppressing us, wanting to make us poor so we can consolidate control and buy us up for pennies on the dollar. That really is the globalist system. And he's absolutely right. So it is an honor to be persecuted by the globalist and to be lied about and to be demonized. But it's an honor to draw them out so we can show who they are so that you take action and you take the country back politically, culturally, spiritually, financially. Another hero is Julian Assange, who's been in solitary confinement in a closet-sized room. They converted a closet with a bed and enough room for a laptop. They took that away over a year ago. No communication with the outside. It's all been one hell of a time for him, and he was very bipartisan in that he exposed Republicans, he exposed Democrats. He very judiciously released information that exposed criminal activity of the NSA, criminal activity of the CIA, illegal spying on Congress, illegal spying on Trump, illegal spying on me. But they had my home number, my old cell, my new cell, and my office line. And they had Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago private apartment number that I had. Total proof of Obama spying on Trump and yours truly a decade ago. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the real deal. And America's had freedom so long, people don't recognize real tyranny when it hits them right between the eyes. But everyone needs to go to Infowars.com. The article is right up there at the top of the page, red link. Petition to Trump, pardon Julian Assange. And we go over the fact that he engaged in regular journalistic activity and did a wonderful job being advised by top journalism professors around the world, and that he was very, very fair about what he did, and that you need to send the message that he's a hero. Now, I know they claim he's a Russian agent with no evidence and all the rest of that garbage, even though they've released stuff on Russia and Israel as well, and China. But it doesn't matter. It's the right thing to do. And you wouldn't have gotten elected without Drudge. You wouldn't have gotten elected without what you've done, obviously. You can't say it's any one person, but without any of us together, it wouldn't have happened. So we need the president to pardon Julian Assange. And you said in a speech, I don't care who got her illegal server. It's illegal. It's about what she did that's wrong. Don't change the subject. Go back to that instinct, sir. But you told Assange, release it. You said release more stuff. And he's in the crosshairs. And he needs to be pardoned if he's brought back to the United States. Look at that. Everybody else is just like yellow or clear. That's because it's been denatured, it's been watered down. We didn't do that. You think I would metaphysically sell you something that is the very best I can get? I'd rather go to hell than do that. I will only give you the maximum best info, the maximum truth, the maximum product, because I want that goodwill. What I do to you, I do to myself. Don't you get the big secret? You ever seen fish oil look like that? No, you never seen that, have you? And this little jewel right here is solid, liquid consciousness. Look it up. Find out how even the FDA and the government admits fish oil is incredible. The number one thing anybody can do for themselves is take good fish oil or krill oil. Just like our information is dynamite, so are our products, InfoWarsStore.com.